Okay, hi everybody. Welcome. I hope we're audible and visible. Abhilasha is joining us very soon as well as we speak. Welcome to the
Hi.
analysis for XAT 2025. Hi Abhilasha. Just waiting
Hi,
for a couple
Gautam.
of confirmations that we're audible and visible. Before we go ahead and get started, Manish is saying 8 से 8:30 हो गया. हाँ भाई हो गया. Delay हो गया थोड़ा आते आते. There's a lot of traffic. I think
Oh, the
Abhilasha
center
can get
was
deeper
so
into that.
far. My center was like 50 kilometers away. And there was such a huge traffic jam. I got out of the center by 6:20. And it was just
Wow.
impossible to reach home on time. It was just crazy today.
Yeah, correct. So basically, they sent me to Meerut. So I'm coming from Meerut as we speak.
Oh my
And
God.
luckily, not too bad actually. Flyovers there. So back home in time. Great. Jijo has not written the XAT paper, so he's not here. We're actually having two analysis simultaneously as we speak. This is the English version, which means the conversation will be in English. There's a Hindi version where the conversation will be in Hindi. The data will be the same. What we go ahead and discuss will be the same. The language or the mode of discussion is what will change. So it's Abhilasha and me to kickstart. The flow of this session is basically going to be unlike other sessions where we wait for the cutoffs right towards the end and then share the cutoffs. Today, what we'll do is we'll kickstart a little bit with what the cutoff has been over the last couple of years and what we expect the cutoff to be this year. Then move on to the verbal section, fine, and then DM, and then finally move on to the quant section where we'll go ahead and discuss the quant questions as well. We're lucky enough to have carried, I think, all the 28 quant and DI questions here. We also have it in the Hindi analysis there. So all 28 questions will be discussed. The answers, the solution won't be discussed. We won't spend too much time on that. Okay. So that's the flow. I'm waiting for a couple of CCs that yes, this is fine, and then we'll go ahead and kickstart. Sonali, Gray, others. Chijo's not there. He's not written this exam, hence he's not a part of this. GK, no, we've not carried the question, Shraddha. Also, GK marks are not going to be considered by any of the colleges, so not something that we're going to get deep into in today's session. Okay, we're going to predominantly focus on part one, which means we'll talk about quant, DM, and finally the VALR section. Okay, perfect. Overall structure, this is what you all were asking, and Abhilasha and I will take you through this. So if you have a look at the overall structure, this is what it looks like. VALR, slight difference from last year. Till last year, there used to be 4 RCs. This year, there were 5 RCs, so one additional RC, which I'm sure will make some changes in terms of the attempts, in terms of also probably the accuracy, because generally there are a couple of additional questions in verbal. When I mean verbal, a vocab question or a grammar question, which generally students are able to handle. Here, an RC question was there, which in case you do not have enough time to spend on 5 RCs might be an issue, or in case you're not very comfortable with the genre of the RC that might have come up, that might be an issue, or in case you just got confused with the differing options which were there, that might lead to a confusion as well. So Abhilasha will talk about verbal, in detail. We have an entire section to that, but just from an overview perspective, this is what the breakup was. Sentence correction, no, I don't think there was too much pain there. Parajumbles, okay, I think again, elimination was something which at least I used. I think that could have helped you. FIB, again, straightforward FIB. I like the fact that they were talking about older generation, younger generation, and hypocrisy, if that gives an answer to you. Okay, conclusion and inference, critical reasoning, and very interesting, right? They gave a cartoon. They gave
Yes,
a
that was
cartoon
very
for
cute.
that was very nice. I really liked it, and it was a very recent cartoon just last year. So that was there. And poem. I personally found the poem to be slightly tricky as compared to what we've seen over the last couple of years. So that is basically what the layout of the VALR section was. Overall, as you can see, it's 170 minutes. My recommendation, I ended up spending close to almost about 50 minutes. I generally spend about 45 minutes in verbal. I spent about 50 minutes, so it took me a little bit extra time. I think that one extra RC automatically means you'll end up spending 4-5 more minutes if you're trying to attempt the same number of questions which you generally do. Level of difficulty moderate, doable question 16 to 18. And Abhilasha will take you deep into it. So this is the view of an individual who's not a verbal person. So just giving you an overview of it. DM, I think Abhilasha, me, GP, all of us had a conversation and we came to the conclusion that if we compare it to last year, it was slightly trickier. There were I think at least three caselets where one question per caselet might be tricky. Students might find it a little difficult to go ahead and pinpoint on what the exact answer could be. One caselet here or there, I think easier to do, and that is something which was good. We'll get deeper into that as well. Then GP will join me for this part of the session where we'll go ahead and discuss DM. And finally, QADI. I think probably when I compare it to the last year, the easiest section. This is where students should end up scoring a few additional marks. Uh, while the questions were across a range of topics, I think the level of difficulty wasn't too high. Other than, say, the probability question, which would have taken a little bit of time. The DI, however, was slightly painful in terms of lengthy. In terms of the length of the question, you would have needed to spend a little bit of time to solve all the DI sets. So probably if you attempted about 2.5 to 3 DI sets and you know you've got decent accuracy, you might have done a decent job. So overall, I wouldn't really say easy, but I'll probably say easy to moderate compared to previous years. So that's the level of difficulty. So as you can see here, overall level of difficulty would surely be moderate. Attempts are about 46 to 48. If you are close to about a 70-75% accuracy, I think you would have done a good job. 50 attempts at about 70% accuracy might actually be quite good. Last year, what was the cutoff? We'll just get into that. Anything specific that you want to add here, Abhilasha, before we get to the cutoffs, and then obviously we'll get to every section and probably discussing a few questions.
Gautam, I felt that this year it was just a tad bit easier as compared to the previous year. And I'll tell you why. Because if you look at the RCs, the passages were less clunky to read. So even though the number of passages increased and the word limit also increased, this time the passages were mostly around 400 to 450 words or something like that. Last year, the passages were smaller, but they were very clunky and very difficult to read. So if you compare it to last year, I felt that the paper was definitely slightly easier. I'm not saying it was crazily easier, but slightly easier in terms of readability, in terms of solvability. Again, that said, XAT has always had very tricky, very close options, which again this year were there. We were discussing and we realized that the options were very close. If you looked at the CR questions, there were two questions which I felt I was unable to do. If you looked at the passages, every passage had at least one question which you should not have touched also with anything. So there were questions there. However, grammar was a cakewalk. We had done those questions in the XAT marathon. So it was absolutely, and those exact same errors we had discussed in the XAT marathon. So if anyone had discussed or attended the XAT marathon, you would have definitely scored those two. The para jumble, one of the para jumbles was very easy. The other one, yes, you had to do a bit of configuration, but doable. I won't say it was crazily difficult, but doable. The filler was, of course, very easy because interestingly, this time none of the two options or none of the options were close enough. You could see one answer and that there was that. So generally, that gives you two very tight options, and then you have to spend time on that. That didn't happen this time. So the VA questions I felt were definitely easier. The RCs, yes, because there were so many of them, yes. And yes, to everyone whom I told that फॉर्म जरूर कर लेना फॉर्म टफ आई थी so
Absolutely.
yes so
Perfect.
that
So
was
no
that.
two questions about that. Students are saying, so please do discuss answers to a few questions. Yes, we will. We will discuss answers to all the QADI questions and whatever few questions we are able to remember of verbal. DM obviously doesn't make sense to discuss because the exact wordings of the statements are very important.
Oh, of
Until we
course,
don't
one
have
of
the
the
exact
questions had an
wordings.
only which made all the difference in the answer. So that close in
Absolutely.
DM. So you should not, yeah, we should not be
Correct.
taking call
Hence,
on that.
hence, DM we'll probably not go ahead and spend too much time on, but the others we will. So, okay, let's quickly moving on to probably what is going to be a very, very important slide for all of you all, which is what are the general good scores or cutoffs. Now, XLRI Jamshedpur, first one where we state 98 plus, that will be closer to a 96 plus and not a 98 plus in order to get a call for BM. For HRM, you could even get a call at about 94, 95 percentile. You can see the fees and the average, CTC, which is expected. Also on the right hand side, you can go ahead and look at the score versus percentile for XAT 2024. And I'll use that as a reference point when we go to the next slide, okay? XIM Bhubaneswar, XIMB. very good college. Another good college under XLRI. Around a 91, 92 percentile, you have a very good chance of getting a call. IMT Ghaziabad, roughly around a 90 percentile. Great Lakes, GIM, TAPME, 85 plus. It could be about 87, 88, but yeah, if you're getting roughly around 87, 88, all of them, I think you have a good chance of getting a call from, and they will end up being the top colleges that you can look at through XAT at this point in time. Now, the interesting part is look at the right hand side of the screen, okay? Last year, the sectional cutoffs, if we look at it, and if I go to the next slide, this is what you'll be able to see. Look at the sectional cutoffs. The sectional cutoffs are dependent on whether you are a male or a female, and whether you are an engineer or a non-engineer. And the overall cutoff is also dependent on that. So have a look at BM, for example. The highest overall cutoff was a 96. The highest cutoff for quant was an 86. Highest for verbal was an 83, and highest for DM was about an 86. So what does that translate into marks? 96, 86, 83, 86. 96 percentile last year overall, as you can see on your screen, 95 was 26.5. So 96 was roughly in the range of about 27 and a half. So if you'd scored about 27 and a half, you would have gone ahead and done well for yourself. And 86 percentile as a sectional cutoff in VALR last year would have been close to, as you can see, roughly around 9 marks, because 85 percentile is about 8.45. So it would have been close to about 9 marks at 86. 83 for DM, as you can see very clearly, would have been close to about 9.4, 9.5 marks, so about 9.5. So 9 and 9.5. And quant at about 86 percentile, as you can very clearly see, would have been about 5, 5.5 marks. So just look at how it functions, okay? We get 9 marks, 9.5 marks, and 5.5 marks. Now add the two of them, 18 plus 5, 23. You add, that's about a sum total of 24 marks. And as you can see, a sum total of 24 marks would have been very, very close to about a 93 percentile. So if you're clearing all three sectionals, automatically the sum total of the sectionals would be close to a 93 percentile, and that's how it generally is this year. Our take this year, and you'll understand why we are stating this once the entire analysis is done, but our take this year, in verbal, probably the cutoff could fall by about a mark. Main reason, not because it was tougher, but main reason being that one additional RC. Because of that one additional RC, those three questions ke liye, where ideally you might have ended up spending about 2 minutes, here you'll need to spend about 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. So if you've not gone ahead and put in those additional 8 marks, and everybody hasn't done that, additional 8 minutes, then automatically attempts reduce, accuracy reduces. Hence, we feel that there is a chance that there might be a fall of about a mark. Similarly, in decision making, we were discussing, Abhilasha, me, and GP. We went through all the caselets and we started looking at all of them, and we realized a good attempt would have been somewhere around 13, 14 questions correct and about 4, 5 questions incorrect. That means somebody attempting about 17, 18 questions, getting about 13, 14 correct and about 4, 5 incorrect. Now, assume I get 13 right and 5 wrong. That basically translates to about 11.5. Now 11.5, that automatically means would be close to a 97, 98 percentile. And look here, last year 11.5, roughly 11.8 was 95. So that means once again DM seems that the cutoff might fall a little. So it might fall about a mark and a half there as well. So the current expectation basis what we are perceiving is verbal falling by about a mark, DM falling by about a mark. However, at the quant end, things change, right? Last year, as you can see, the cutoff at 86 percentile was just about 5, 5.5 marks. This year, basis what we've discussed with few students, and I urge all of you all, if you can just go to the chat box and type in your attempts section wise. First section VALR, second DM, third quant. Just type A, B, C, and we'll understand. I would urge all of you all to put in your attempts for the 3 sections so that it helps us understand as well. But our gut feel basis our conversation with students and what we were discussing, quant might go up by a couple of marks because the number of sitters was slightly higher. So look at Story Hub. Story Hub is saying 21, 21, 21. So quant 21 questions. Verbal also 21. So can others go ahead and state 14, 15, 10. So Vardhan is also saying 10. Then I'm seeing 17, 18, 17. 21, 16, 10. 21, 21, 18. 18, 21, 20. 19, 14, 13. 21, 21, 21. Just look at how it's going. The number of people who have attempted more than 15 questions or 14 questions in quant is quite high this year, 14 to 15. Last year when we were sitting down, the number who had attempted more than 13, 14 was not very high. This year, of all the inputs that we've just gotten, look at Ram, 24, Ojas, 14, uh, above that, just have a look at it. So hence, I'm turning around and stating that there is a possibility that in quant it could go up by 1 or 2 marks, as is evident in the attempts here itself. Divya, you are absolutely right. The overall paper was lengthy, but as you can see, your fellow students and your fellow mates as well, there are a lot of people here who attempted 14, 15 or above. Even if there are students who attempted 12, 13, quant is not a place where your accuracy will be 65% or 70%, unlike what it might happen in verbal or it might happen in DM. Quant is a place where the accuracy will be 80, 85% or maybe higher. Hence, at this point in time, it seems like quant ka cutoff might go up by 1 or 2 marks. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you are, say, a non-engineering female, okay, look at this, non-engineering female, your quant cutoff was an 85 percentile, okay, if you're looking at BM, and it was a 75 percentile, okay, sorry, non-engineering female, your quant cutoff was an 80 percentile if you were looking at BM, and 68 percentile if you were looking at HRM. Now 80 percentile last year was about 4.2 marks. Here we feel 6. That means if you're a non-engineering female and you're expected to score above 5.5, 6 marks, you have a very good chance that you might be able to clear the cutoff for quant for BM as well. And HRM ki agar baat karenge, the cutoff might be about 4 marks, because 68 percentile last year might have been close to about 3.25, 3.5 marks. So it'll be about 4 marks. So please keep that in mind. Look at it from your profile perspective. Also, one caveat that I would want to add here is all of this is considering that the percentile cutoffs remain the same. 80 remains 80, 80 remains 80, 95 remains 95. Now this year 1,40,000 plus students are writing. There is a chance that the percentile cutoffs change a little. Then obviously the score cutoffs might change. So this is all assuming that the percentile cutoffs remain exactly the same. I hope this caveat is clear to everybody, and I hope everybody is clear about the cutoff part of it. 5.25 in quant, non-engineer male, HRM cutoff. There is a chance, right? Non-engineer male, 75 percentile quant. I think, yeah, you have a good chance of clearing it. Okay? I hope this part is clear. Okay. Now, should we go deeper into every section? Should we solve a few questions? Bilasha is here. I'm sure she will do
I
homework.
have done 5 questions in quant. So when you're saying this, the thing about cutoffs, I get this hope that, oh, something might happen too.
Possible. Are you a non-engineer?
Possible. Yes,
Are you a non-engineer?
non-engineer female.
Oh, sorted. Sorted. नॉन
Sorted.
इंजीनियर फीमेल एचआरएम का तो बहुत हाई चांस है कट ऑफ क्लियर हो जाए अगर सब राइट
Yeah.
है. So yeah, those are the 2 to 3 things that we wanted to point out before we get into every section. Now, if you want us to go ahead, get into every section, get deeper into what the expected cutoff तो हम लोग ने बात कर ली, but what the possible answers could be for some of the questions that we've carried in verbal, go ahead, like the video quickly, share some and love for Abhilasha and the team, so that she can go ahead, get motivated and share a few questions. She remembers quite a bit of it. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to go there. Solve VLR please. Yeah, solving VLR थोड़ा tricky होता है. Once again, 1 or 2 words इधर उधर change होते रहता है भाई, तो difficult होता है. I think grammar वाला कर लेंगे, critical reasoning अगर एक दो याद है कर लेंगे, but RC, I just don't think people should be discussing RCs and DM till the actual wordings of the
So
questions
RC
are
we'll
more
discuss
clear.
once the actual paper comes, and then we can do a longer session and discuss all of that. But today, yes, let's refrain from taking a call on RC because I also don't remember all the options. It was just
Perfect.
too heavy. All
Agreed.
right.
Cool.
Okay.
So,
So
um, Anmol is asking, should I join career launch of a CAT 25, wait till XAT declare results? Depends on how it went today for you, Anmol. We'll be discussing all the quant questions. We'll be discussing a few verbal questions. If you feel that your overall score will be above 20, 24, 25 marks, then you got a good chance of getting at least one call. Anmol could be male, female, so I don't know which gender this is, but yeah, you could get a call if you're about 24, 25. Or above. If you feel नहीं उतना नहीं आएगा, then yeah, please go ahead and kickstart your preparation ASAP. ठीक है? Over to you, Abhilasha.
all right, guys. Thank you, Gautam. All right, guys. So this time, some changes, some differences in the VA section. Generally, every year in the grammar, they give you two questions. One is identify the correct sentence, and the other is identify the incorrect sentence. So this time there was a switch, and they gave you just two questions asking you to identify the correct sentences. Now, I'll quickly go through the errors. I do have some of the sentences with me. I don't remember the rest, but whatever I remember, I'll quickly take a look at this. So there was the first question. It was I don't remember the first statement. Someone asked for additional funding, which was correct. The second was the boss discussed about the new project with his team. Now, this is a question that we had discussed also, and we said that you never say discuss about something, you only say discuss, and therefore there was an error here. Okay, Radhika is good at DI and not in DI. Again, this was also one of the errors that we had discussed. So Radhika is good at DI. Neil is transitioning into a new phase of life. That was a perfectly okay sentence. There was no problem on that. Rajat emphasized on the need for consistency in XAT prep. I think I've just written the sentence as it is, or maybe I've changed it. I don't remember the error. And this car is superior to the present one, to the previous one in terms of efficiency. This was a correct sentence. Again, this was an error that we had discussed, that you don't use superior than, but you use superior to. The answer here was A, D, and F. I don't remember which options, which statements, but A, D, F was the correct answer. So if you have marked that, then you would have gotten it right. The second question, which was on fillers. In my paper, at least, it was a filler. तो जो फिलर था वो बहुत easy था. There was just one option which you could have marked. The sentence was something like this: when each blank succeeding generation grows up, it looks down on the next, as if we all forget what it feels like to be something. When most blank think about their own youthful indiscretions, they do so with a wink and a laugh. But when the same people think about those in today's generation doing something similar, then there was a blank, sound the alarm about a decline in morality in the next generation. Now, this question was very beautiful, and this is so true for us. No, we've done all our escapades and done away with them, and then when we look at your generation, we laugh and we're like, okay, my mistake, but now there's something wrong with the children today. So the idea here was that if you had picked hypocrisy as the clue there, that we were being very hypocritical while we said something, we accused you of something that we had already done. So that was hypocrisy, and the correct answer therefore was successive, young, adults, and hypocritically. The other options, of course, you could have eliminated because hypocrisy was not given. So the other options in the fourth blank had naturally, carefully, sincerely, and cautiously. So you could have directly eliminated. Now I'll tell you something. This, Gautam, is a big move off from XAT, because if you look at the XAT fillers, the options have always been very close.
Very close.
And this time it was just, you looked at the question, you said, oh, there is no other answer that you could pick.
Correct.
So this one was a question that everybody should have got right, or at least everybody who was just thinking rationally, you would have gotten this right. Then the third question in my paper again was the correction, sentence correction. So you had to identify the correct sentences, and the sentences were, there are less cars on the road today. Obviously, you had to say few cars, because fewer cars, not less. Less is used for quantities, not numbers. She is nicer than her sister was perfectly correct. I have been here. From Monday would not work. Again, this was something that we had discussed, that you don't use from. You should use since for something like this. Okay, so there was an error here. I know how to swim. That was a correct sentence. She's the girl that won the case competition. You don't use that for humans. You use who. So she is the girl who won the case competition should have been your answer. And the media are divided on the issue. That was correct, by the way, because media can be a collective noun and you can use it plurally. So that was those were the sentences there. Then there were two parajumbles in this set. The first parajumble, I'll read out the sentences for you. Yeah, I know, Story Hub, we can't, no, none of us remember the exact answers. That is why I'm just telling you the questions and I'm telling you what I remember from the answers. Trust me, nobody remembers those passages.
I'll actually come in. here, Abhilasha, because a lot of students above went ahead and asked for the answers. So, which is why we're only limiting ourselves to verbal. You might not remember, but a lot of students do, right? So, as you
Oh,
can
yes,
see,
yes.
so look,
A
look,
lot of
look at
students
Abhishek
would.
Pandey. He's also saying, please continue, VA. So, Story Hub, it can't be dependent on one person. We'll look at the entire paper. Okay. Yeah.
I will discuss whatever I remember from my paper, and then we will, once we have the entire paper, we'll do a discussion on that. So for now, whatever I remember, or whatever Gautam will remember, he will share his inputs with you
Yeah,
guys.
sure.
All right. So the parajumble, if you look at it, the first parajumble was a little tricky, I felt. This one was the one on Europa. Okay. So I'll read out the sentences that I remember. So the first sentence was, whatever that might be on Europa, far from the sun and beneath kilometers of ice, it won't be sunlight. So here the clue was whatever that might be. Okay, so you had to pick that. The final ingredient for a habitable world is a source of energy for life to exploit. On Earth, almost every living being depends on photosynthesis for its energy, including the rich ecosystem in the ocean depths discovered in 1980s, and which helped the idea of life on Europa gain a foothold. Their inhabitants do not benefit from sunlight directly, but their metabolism are I don't remember what that is. Something by processed by chemical creation created in photosynthesizing oxygen-rich surface oceans for above. And that is a bit of a problem. Now, from what I remember, there were two options where BA was a pair, and that was a definite clue that you had. So one option was DECBA, and the other was BAECD. These were two options that you would have come to, right? And from what I understood, the answer should have been BAECD. Okay, I don't know if that's the perfect answer or if that's the right answer, but मेरे को ऐसा लगा that you should have started the story from what is the final ingredient for the habitable world. So my answer would have been BAECD. Now, the next question, of course, was an inference question in my paper where it said. Employees complaining about mundane tasks are often ignored, and there is a listlessness that settles around them. And a bored employee may continue to produce good results, but that can also be because tasks are repetitive and outcomes are expected. And then you have to qualify what the inference was. I do not remember what the answer was. If any of you remember what the answer was, you could just quickly key it in here, right, guys? मेरे को बिल्कुल याद नहीं. I just don't remember what the answer was for this one, and I haven't even put it down. Once I left my center, I did write down a few questions that I remembered, but I did not remember a lot of them. The next question in my set was the cartoons by Tom Toro, New Yorker, 18th November 2024. I'm sure some of you would have already Googled it and found it. It was a very cute picture. There is a boy who thinks, who's standing, and then there is a dog, and the boy says, the dog is so happy doing simplistic tasks, and the dog is like, I need to keep him out of depression, and therefore that's almost crushing me. So there was that sense of uh, what do I do for the other person, and this, here I do have the options. So our sense of duty for others can overwhelm our sense of self. Our interpretation of others reality is mostly arbitrary. Our sense of identity is based on how others interpret us. Our understanding of others based on our beliefs may not be true. And love is about caring for others even if it wears you out. So those were the options that you had. मेरे को जो option correct लग रहा था, that was love is about caring for others even if it wears you out, and that was what the intended meaning or the intention of the cartoon was. Here is the boy who's looking at the dog and saying, oh, he's so happy with the simplistic things, while the dog is going all out trying to take care of his human, right? And he's crushed by that. So probably love is about caring about others. So that was the one that I picked up. Then the next one was again an inference question. The
My
lovely thing
take here,
about,
Abhilasha, was different. In the
okay,
cartoon one, I think there was an option which was something to do
right.
with, when we look at the other person, we are unable to judge their
Should I read out the
condition.
options once again?
Yeah, yeah,
One
yeah,
was
yeah.
our sense of duty for others can overwhelm our sense of self. Our
Mm.
interpretation of others' reality is mostly arbitrary. Our sense
Mhm.
of identity is based on how others interpret us. Our understanding of others based on our beliefs may not be true. And love is about
Y-
caring for others even
Yeah.
if it wears you
The
out.
fourth one, the belief one, based on our beliefs may
Acha,
not be
our
true.
understanding of
That's,
others based on our beliefs may not
yeah,
be true.
yeah.
Okay.
That's the one I went with because
Okay.
the man is believing that the dog is happy
Yeah.
looking at it, and the dog is
Hmm.
believing that the man is in depression, and for him I need to do this. So that's the
Okay.
belief one is the one that I went with. But
Okay.
tricky,
Huh.
tricky
Yeah, tricky. Yes,
is
yes.
what I would state.
So I went with the second one, but all right. So the next one was this unsayable one. The lovely thing about the unsayable is that it is unsaid. As soon as it is said, it is sayable and loses all its mystery and ambiguity. Now, this was a question: art exists so that the unsayable can be said without having to say it. We cloud it in secrecy and obfuscation. The mind is free to roam, and all things can be imagined under the cover of darkness. How nice that the unsaved, that is the unsayable. How tired we are of having things explained to us, having things said. How nice it is when people just shut up. So this was one of the questions that I really didn't like. I wanted to mark the answer, but that was, I just decided that I'm not going to make that effort to mark this one. Even though I have the options here, the options were: art expresses what humans can't communicate in word. Art unfolds the mystery of human tongues. How nice explain it. It was explaining how art metamorphoses into another piece of art, how art echoes the language that is unintelligible, and any piece of art defies expression. So this was one of the questions that I did not do. I just did not feel like doing. I know. um, so that was one question that I didn't do. Then there was one more parajumble. The second parajumble I felt was very, very easy. This one was on the Maastricht Treaty. So, how Germany decides to exclude Italy right at the beginning of the Maastricht Treaty, but the Italian Prime Minister decides no, he's going to be part of it and get all in. So, that was a very interesting one, and that was a very doable one. So, you could have just picked the options from there. Um, I'll just read out the sentence here also. I do have it. So the treaty tests of a budget deficit no bigger than 3% of GDP and a public debt coverage converging towards a ceiling of 60% of a GDP seemed impossible for Italy to pass by 1999. That Belgians also had a public debt above 100% of GDP helped, as did a special Euro tax, Mr. Prodi, I think, introduced. Into the uncompromising environment came the first of a series of external shocks, as one of the earliest was the entry into the European single currency, euro, in 1999. But when it became clear in 1997 that Spain was determined to join from the starting, Prodi, then Italian Prime Minister, decided that Italy must be there too. So this was one of the clues. And Germany had more or less designed the 1992 Maastricht Treaty's convergence criteria to keep out a profligate, chronically indebted Italy. So the options here were CBDEA, EDBAC, EABCD, ABCDE, and CEADB, of which I felt C was the clear beginner, and therefore CEADB should have been the correct answer. No, I don't think it was the timing that you could have picked. You should have started from where the story begins. So you have the issue of the European currency coming in, and then the rest of the story would follow. And this was a very doable question. So I hope you guys had attempted this one. So those are all the VA questions, and then of course the poem, which of course was a killer one. So, two questions from the poem. Look how you turned on the ceiling fan, it's too high, and see how it shakes and trembles. I did not even remember the rest of the poem, but well, very interesting poem. Two questions it had. One was a theme, what was the theme of the passage? And the other was a statement from the passage, from the poem, which you had to identify the meaning of. Now here, the questions were both tricky. Okay, so if you spent a little bit of time and read through the poem, you might have picked up the theme. But the second question was definitely tougher. So, so of course, I also did not do the second question. I just did the first one, and hopefully, I would have gotten it right. What was your answer to it, Gautam?
The poem one,
Yeah, did you do that?
I don't remember it at all. I did attempt the first question, not the second one,
Okay,
but I
so I
don't
think the options were
remember it
inner
at all.
conflict resolved by an attempt to restore balance, or a quest for self during emotional turmoil, or subtle art of argumentation and counter argumentation, or it is a conflict between transformation and escape, or fear and anxiety due to loss of stability. So,
Can't
so
remember.
I also don't remember what I marked. So, just gone off
I
my this
but,
thing.
but 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 my personal take was it was very tricky. The poem, I did spend a little bit of time, and if you look at the questions that we've just discussed, at least two to three of the critical reasoning questions we said were tricky. We did
Yes.
say that the poem turned out to be tricky, and we've not even gotten into the RC till now. So we've gotten about 4 5 questions which we already know are tricky, and we've not even gotten into the RCs. So we can just go ahead and understand exactly क्या status था, and which is why I'm continuously stating that at the end of the day, I don't think verbal was very easy, the verbal LR
Not at all.
section, and which is why we feel that the cutoff might actually fall by a mark or so. And to those of you all who are going ahead and stating, please show the chart for score versus percentile. We did that right at the beginning, right? So we went ahead and we shared a little bit related to that. In general, we are expecting ki roughly at about the 85 percentile mark, probably a fall of about 1 mark as compared to last year in terms of the cutoff. RCs, if you remember the topics, Abhilasha, you can probably just mention
Yeah,
the
of course.
genres and
I
the
I
topic,
do remember,
and
and
then
I've
we'll move
got
on.
them written down also
Hi, Naveen,
somewhere.
welcome.
Yeah.
Hi, Naveen.
Hi. Hi, ma'am. Hi, Gautam.
So
Hi,
finally,
everyone.
you've reached.
Oh, मैम don't tell me. Z वालों ने गलत कर दिया इस बार सबका.
All right.
Yeah.
So here are the five RCs that we had for ZAT this year. The first one was the experiment that was done in Africa, the social science experiment done on testing a hypothesis. So there was a character test and some tests and some tests. There were three tests. So the questions, one was which of these would the author best agree with? The second one was a best inference, and character skill will better help entrepreneurs vis-a-vis cognitive skills. So of all of these questions, I felt that the character skills will better help the entrepreneurs than cognitive skills. That was an answer that you could have marked very well. The other two again were tricky. So if you had spent a little time on the first one, which was the which of these the author would best agree with, you would have gotten that. But inference I felt was a little too difficult. So of this, I'd say one was easy and the other two moderately difficult. So that the second passage was on the wealthy and
Just,
inequality
just, just,
and
just one sec, Abhilasha, one sec.
yes, yes.
Shashwat, we will solve the entire quant paper even in this version. Don't worry about it. So QA DI दोनों जगह ही solve होगा. Tension मत लो. Naveen, the Hindi one, the quant is going on currently. If you want to join there at this point, because the quant will happen here right towards the end. Okay, perfect.
All right. So the second passage was rich and inequality and how that is rampant and how that is happening. So again, there were three questions here. One was which of these cannot be inferred. Now that was a question that you could have answered. Uh, uh, Very doable question. The second was a conclusion, and the third was something about defenders of affirmative action will agree with it or something like that. Now, this was also a question that you could have attempted because the passage had clearly at some place mentioned what the defenders of affirmative action were saying. I think it was in one of the paragraphs. So you could have picked your answer from there. So I'll say two questions that were doable. The third one was not doable. The third passage, which was laughter You can laugh at a hat, but are you really laughing at the hat, or are you laughing at the man who's there? So that was the third passage. Three questions again. One, what does the author best mean by that? One was which of these cannot be inferred, and one was which of these the author would best agree with. Again, I did not solve this one, so therefore I'm not going to comment on the questions here. Um, so that's that. The fourth passage, which was interesting, I like it because it was about gender inequality, and that's something that's very close to my heart, and so I liked the passage. I really read it well, and it was about greedy work. So somebody who's greedy for money, for fame, for passion is the person who will go out and work. But as a fallout of that, there will be another person in the family who will have to stay at home and take care of the home. And then it is the woman who has to stay at home, and therefore the gender inequality is bred by greedy work. And that was the passage, a very nice passage. So there was a question on summary, there was something that is correct about greedy work, and there was one question on inference also. Now here you could have answered at least two questions. I felt that they were doable. So this was a passage, one, it was very readable, and two, the questions were also okay. So this one, yes. The last one, rodents versus human, how do you select your kin, and then how do you continue with that? So what was the similarity between rodents and humans? And then there was one question on what does the author best mean by this? And the third question in this set was a very doable question, because that was talking about an example that the author had written somewhere about the Battle of Stalingrad and the Pearl Harbor, that if he had not moved, his ancestors had not moved from Russia to the US, he might have felt differently about the Battle of Stalingrad or the Pearl Harbor story. So this was a question that was very, very doable. The other two, similarity in rodents and human, was not very clear because the options were not very clear. So that was a question that I wanted to do, but I did not attempt because options nahi dikh rahe the. I was unable to see the options. The best meaning also. But this third question was very simple and very doable. Again, unlike that, where all the questions are almost very close, this one was one question that you could have attempted and answered. So that's my take on this paper. uh, Again, in terms of readability, easier than last year, but I won't say it was an easy paper, because yes, that extra RC made all the difference. If you were somebody who was preparing for 4 RCs and one poem and lots of VA, that didn't happen. So that was the tricky thing.
Correct. And like we saw, Abhilasha, and hi GP, like we
Right?
saw that even for students, critical reasoning poem turned out to be tricky. We saw in
Absolutely.
critical reasoning about four options and 25% weightage across students. एक A बोल रहा है, B बोल रहा है, C बोल रहा है, D, one fourth करके ये चल रहा है. पोएम में तीन ऑप्शन में ये चला है और ये होगा.
बिल्कुल होगा. This is something that will happen.
And guys, my suggestion is don't be too worried about the English answers. And that जिस साल Trump आया था last time, we know what happened in the ZAT paper, and I have full faith in Trump. So इस बार भी I would expect the same thing to happen. Okay. That if you look at ZAT 2020, if you look at the ZAT 2020 paper, you'll find the English cutoff was 2.67 or 3.25, something like that stupid number. Okay. So let's see what happens, and
GP, this
just wait for the response sheet to be sure about the answer, because English, the issue is the wordings will change the answer. So if we don't remember the exact wording, unlike Quant or DI where it is easy to mug up the values and come out, in English you can't do that, because 5 question means 25 statements, which is very, very difficult for any one of us to do. So
True,
but,
sir.
but I hope you get the idea.
Yeah, so
But
GP, just one thing, I think आप correlation को causation बना
नहीं, मेरे को ट्रम्प पे भरोसा है. So you're right, correlation को causation नहीं बनाना चाहिए, बिल्कुल सही है. so गौतम क्या बंद हो गया है दुकान उसकी? Okay. गौतम की बंद हुई है, मेरी बंद हुई है. Guys, I hope I am audible. Gautam, it seems, has vanished, or have I vanished? Okay. Shruti, can you confirm if okay, GB's video has frozen? Okay. Just give her a minute. Okay. And okay. Okay. I've just joined, so let me just check up with GB. Shruti, can you call up GB? Okay. So let me look at a few questions. Okay, ठीक है. Gautam will be joining us in a couple of minutes. I don't know what has been discussed, but we'll just go to decision making in a minute. Okay. Okay. So this is the situation as far as the decision making is concerned. वैसे, how did you find decision making? Any specific set that you think was very, very easy or very difficult?
Okay, sorry, apologies for that. My net has vanished. The router has decided that it will not work. So I am on hotspot. Hopefully the
Okay.
hotspot will
ठीक है.
stay. Perfect. So, GP, I have the passages, or rather the caselets for DM. We can probably get a
Right.
little deeper into that, and I think
Sure.
in front of us as well as we speak.
Mhm.
Okay, first one, MBA postgraduate. I think caselet
Yes.
सबको याद होगा. Work
Yeah.
through my academic background is not that great. A friend of mine has gone ahead and gotten into an MBA. मेरे को भी अब लगता है पैसे कमाने हैं, MBA करना चाहिए. ये caselet था, in short.
Yeah.
And there were 3 questions around it.
Mhm.
I think the first question,
First,
GP, do you remember? I
first
remember
question
one
was
question,
that
online MBA.
the company has decided to offer this online MBA for certificate program, etc., etc. So she has to decide whether she will go for it or not. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
Correct. So I think that one, there was straightforward. I don't think there was much stress in that question. In fact, इस passage में, if I'm not wrong, most of the questions were quite straightforward. ज़्यादा fight नहीं थी इधर. इशू जो था, आई थिंक एक दो पैसेजेस में आगे था, बट इस पैसेज के भी जस्ट इफ वी गो अहेड एंड जस्ट गेट द क्वेश्चन, जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकंड. आई थिंक आई माइट हैव द क्वेश्चंस हियर. जस्ट गिव मी अ
Okay.
सेकंड.
One
Just
question
checking.
was that. The second question was, what was the second question? Third question I remember. Okay, second question was she gets admission into agribusiness and she gets admission into executive 1 year program. Okay,
Correct.
executive business of a top institute and executive 1 year program of so which one should she go for? And I think Usme, the answer should be in that question should be executive MBA, because she'll be able to choose a specialization or something like that. Okay. Okay. And the
Yes.
third question,
Agreed. She'll be able to.
Sanani, and the
It
third
wasn't
question
about
was the
specialization.
MBI situation. Huh?
Yeah, I think it was more about she'll be able to get into the stream she wants to, the line
Yes.
that she wants to, rather than
That's
specialization.
right.
वही था.
Specialization is a stream, yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And third question was a takeoff, a complete takeoff on MDI. That the institute calls and sends a mail and says that we have not been able to, we by mistake we have given extra offer, so we'll give you the confirmed offer for next year. What, should she believe the institute or not? The answer is yes, she should believe them, because they have been honest in admitting to their mistakes. Okay. Yes, Aditya, MDI की कहानी है ये.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So that this question, I
Absolutely.
think at least 2 you should have got right, if not 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
फिर वो आ जाता है वो लीडरशिप वाला,
ट्रेनिंग वाला.
लीडरशिप ट्रेनिंग आई थिंक लीडरशिप ट्रेड लिखा है, इट्स लीडरशिप ट्रेनिंग वाला जो सेट था, विच वाज ह्यूमेन डायनामिक्स. This was also an interesting set. Once again, one of those which we would say would be about moderate level of difficulty. Iske andar basically the whole point was in this firm you keep appointing some senior person as the CTO or CAO, kuch designation thi, and
TAO.
then that person will ensure that see
TAO या TPO ऐसे कुछ था, but doesn't matter यार, क्या था, क्या फर्क पड़ता है.
something like that, and then there'll be projects, and the senior consultants as a part of the firm would be the one who will go ahead and deliver those projects, and the junior ones will assist them, whereas the new TAO who has come in, he has been instructed by his manager that your objective is, we've got newer hires who have come into the ecosystem, तुम्हें ensure करना है कि अब वो भी जाके काम करे. आई थिंक फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन ही ये था कि उनसे काम
That's right.
करवाना है तो क्या करना चाहिए, जिसके अंदर आई थिंक वन ऑप्शन वाज 30% ऑफ द deliverables or 30% of the seminar or 30% of the session should be taken by the newer people, and the remaining can be taken by the senior ones. I think that was the one which was the answer.
That's what I went with. That 30% of the session should be mandated for the in every session. Yeah, and every training. Sorry. And
same. Second one was again with this that you've gone ahead and क्या था इसको ले आए हैं. Guys, if you all also remember, just keep putting it in, okay?
The
Because
question
DM will
was
just
कि
use your memory.
the question was they in spite of this जो appointed था उसने session दे दिया था जो उनके close and faithful clients थे,
अच्छा.
उनको दे दिया था, and they came back with
कोई feedback आया था. कोई
उन्हें.
feedback आया था कि so one consultant was there. The consultant had a particular firm that they used to go to. Instead of sending that consultant, they sent a junior resource, and the feedback came to that particular consultant that the junior resource wasn't great enough. So what should this consultant do? One option was she should go with this person and train them, something like that, if I'm not wrong. So the answer was somewhere along those lines. And then there was a third question related to this as well. As we state, DM, generally memory mein you don't end up remembering all questions. So
नहीं, तीसरा याद है मुझे.
Acha, okay, good. We have Naveen.
So the third one was one of the existing senior trainers. She was told by her client that the training did not go well. So she had one of the choices so that she can make sure that and her revenue also went down because of that, because her revenue was associated with the number of sessions she is supposed to take. So she had to somehow make sure that everything was in place, her revenue doesn't get disturbed. So what step should she take? So it was like she should go directly and talk to the guy, or she should talk to the client directly कि मेरे को ले लेना. ये सारे options थे उसमें.
इसमें I think the answer was that she should go to her management, offer to train the junior associate in a unique way.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, Divya has given the answer, I think, yes.
Yeah, uniquely trained by her way. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Correct. The next one was the suburb one. This was, I think, a good set. It was basically a store about 100 kilometers from some town. There is a suburb. There is a society there. In that society, this person has gone ahead and set up a grocery store. And the reason why he got the grocery store was because he had agreed to pay the maximum rent. That was the basic premise. And the first question was that everything started off well, but now the problem is, he's realizing that he's barely being able to break even. So what is this plausible course of action? And generally, there is a probability or propensity for a lot of students to turn around and say that he should go and renegotiate his rent. But however, that will not be the answer, because that was the reason for him to get the contract. Now, if he renegotiates, there's a chance that he will not be left with the contract. So what I had done was probably increase marketing and send leaflets. That is one option which was there. I remember that was the second option. There was
to give 40% discount.
40%
This
discount.
discount is ruled out because he's in any case bleeding, so he cannot
Yes.
improve
Correct.
his profitability that way.
Correct. Marketing leaflets to me had seemed logical because his objective was I need to improve my revenue, and this will not include any expenditure on his part to just distribute leaflets.
There was one more part of the question in the question that even though the people they did not visit his store, but his store was a go to go
Yeah,
for some instant products that they wanted and
correct.
some basic day to day grocery items. So one
Hmm.
of the
And
options
there was
was
another option
he can he
that
can
he would go and
request.
purchase it from the city.
Yes, that was also
Yeah,
one of the
that was
options.
also there in the options. Correct. That was also so. Iska GP, what was your answer? Should he go to the city and get hold of those, or was it the leaflets one? As far
No,
as
I
I
did not
remember,
go
I
with
was
the
going to
leaflet
leaflet.
one. I did
Okay,
not go with the leaflet one. I think I went with the other one of the others.
okay.
Okay.
Huh.
I
There was
clearly
one
remember
more.
eliminating this that he like, giving discounts. I clearly eliminated renegotiating rent because that's the basis. What were the others? I think I went for the last choice, usme jo tha, which is that offer to get more stuff from the city for the people out here.
Yeah. That
Yes.
is what Naveen was saying.
Okay,
And
so
there
that's
was
what
one
I
more
did.
option. There was one more option which talked about um,
Reducing the discount rate
not
slabs or
not
something like
not
that.
giving discount at all. Sell at
Yeah,
MRP so that they can. वो तो
that
कभी
you
नहीं काम
can't do.
करेगा.
That you can't do. Yeah.
That he had
Uh,
already offered, so even I removed it on that basis. Okay.
yeah.
But but but
Then there was a
but but that could also be the answer because it is not contractually given there. His contract is for rent, not on discount. The discount was an offer he gave after the words. So I was confused between these two choices, whether it is to remove the discount or is it to pick up the other one. The answer should be one of these two. I am not 100% sure which of the two should be the answer. Yeah. Hmm.
So, the next question was, I think,
Oh,
that
sabzi wala.
Sabzi, yeah, that
Yeah.
there was a vegetable vendor there, and now the vegetable vendor has gone because he has started selling vegetables as well. So, what is the course of action?
Hmm.
I do
Yeah.
not remember the options for this at all.
उसमें
उसमें
one was the easy to eliminate one. He should give the some sabji to for free to the security and maintenance staff. That was easy to
Yeah,
eliminate. Okay,
correct.
and
one
all the
was the
He
association
should
should
start selling from that
give.
space. He should start selling vegetables from that space and pay rent for that space. I think that was one option as well.
Then association should ask for bidding for the space and bring in somebody to sell groceries to increase the competition. Then there was one to take action against the guy himself, Sundaram. And
uh,
the answer that I marked was they should call in the vegetable guy, giving him some concession or some rebate on his rent or
Yeah.
something.
Even I marked this one because this was the only option which was satisfying both conditions. There were two things to handle. One thing to handle was that the rent was missing, and the second thing to handle was maintenance staff used to get this for free, and because of that,
the
they were not
turnover,
losing the staff. The turnover was not very high.
employee
So this
turnover.
was correct. This was the only option which was ensuring that both of them will be taken into consideration. Rent bhi kuch aayega, and this will also happen. So hence, I had gone ahead and marked this one.
Yeah. The last one was easy.
Hmm.
He should get 5-6 people to deliver sabji or deliver your goods
Yeah,
at
in under 10
in 10
minutes.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, this one was easy. So once again, I think this is a set where at least two questions students should be able to get, if not all three. Uh, Next came, sorry, ये तो DI आ गया. One sec.
मैं
I
भी सोचा
think,
इंस्टॉलेटिंग कहाँ पे आ गया.
yeah, this is
True
one.
color.
Yeah. True Color Event Management Company पे था ये. This was, I think, you get Tollywood stars to come perform certain events and stuff. उसके ऊपर, what were the questions here? The first here
First
was
question was why should he not make any drastic changes? वो वाला first था कि second question था?
First था, वो first था.
First था. that the company
Oh
has
yeah,
hired a new
he's
person
from
for
East.
sales and even sales marketing
Correct.
head kiya hai. And so the first question was, should he go for making drastic changes or not, or why he should not make any
Yeah,
drastic changes.
yeah. And the
There
answer was
was
he should take time because he needs some more time to get knowledge of the East or something like that.
Not,
If
yeah,
you
yeah,
look at
not
the
this,
choices, it was
not
a small
perfect.
town. The only two choices which made sense was that the people who are running that sales agency, they are well known in people in the city, and the other one was that the new employee who has been recruited to head sales and marketing needs to understand the market first. So between the two, obviously, this one is what I also preferred. That he needs to first understand the market dynamics before he does anything else.
Right.
Correct.
Next question,
The
kya tha?
next
Main
was, I
Next,
think, that they have gone and sold. Matlab, they state that we need to get rid of this
next.
firm. वो
No,
जिससे
no,
outsource
he
करवा रहे हैं.
received he received complaints regarding that the tickets were being sold.
Ah,
Oh,
yes.
black market. Yeah,
Counterfeiting of
Black
tickets.
market. Counterfeiting of tickets
correct.
वाला उसको complain आया. तो which of the following statements will make sure that he doesn't care about it, as in it's understood. उसमें से एक option था कि
Correct.
there are obviously people with a lot of influence जिनको free में देना पड़ता है, that should be provided.
वो choices
I
बहुत
think there
आसान
was
थी
one
eliminate
option
करनी.
that, yeah, in the industry everybody slanders each other. There was something like that.
हाँ, that was also one
Yeah.
of the options. जो मुझे लगता है कि some of the students may have opted for, but that is not the answer. The answer was the promise
He
that
gets a
they
cut.
gave. The promise
He
that they
gets a
gave
cut
कि
for each
they are
year.
going to sell these many tickets, वो confirm हो रहा है. उसके अलावा वो क्या कर रहे हैं हमें क्या मतलब.
Actually पता नहीं, मैंने actually वो दूसरा वाला ही आंसर किया है. I went ahead with the second option.
ये tricky है थोड़ा सा ये वाला.
I went ahead with that second one. Naveen, which you said students might mark. I am one of those students who mark that.
In this question, these were the only two choices which you could look at, and it
Yeah.
is difficult because there is a norm for just to support what you're saying, Gautam. If this is a norm, everyone keeps let's say slandering the other competitor, then you just ignore it. The
Correct.
other one was Naveen. Which is the other one you said?
He
Other
gets a
one was
cut of every ticket that is sold.
Yeah, no, they have confirmed, they have promised so much ticket sales, or the sales planning was done together, something like that.
yes.
हाँ.
So
ठीक है,
beyond that, what they do, वो हमारे
हाँ,
काम का नहीं है.
हाँ,
हम
ठीक
तो
है.
नंबर
So
देखेंगे कि हमें
actually
मिल गया 40,000, आगे तू जो करे करे.
ठीक है, ठीक है, चलो.
So we will get to know the correct answer by 10th or 11th. 1 week में तो आ ही जाएगा.
Next one was Homer Simpson. It ensured that the DM section started off on a nice cartoonish note. So there was a reference of cartoon in verbal. Then Homer Simpson came here and Game of Thrones came in Quant. So they ensured that something or the other was always there in every section to keep us calm and composed. Iska ye tha, basically this is like
Hold on, Gautam.
this
Sorry
is
to interrupt. True color and event management, there was the third question also, no, where he had to increase. He decided that he
the
will
sales.
start with the
Outsource, instead of outsourcing, he will do it in house,
Yes.
and he was able to sell only 40,000. So what will be the course of action? And I think
Yes.
there the answer, according to me at least, was this is just the first year. Give him some more time. Anyways, he had
Yes.
stated it will take a couple of years.
And Gautam, the other four choices were so stupid that कुछ मतलब ही नहीं बनता था.
True.
So
Correct.
in this section, I found that if you just keep eliminating choices, you'll typically keep getting the answer.
Correct. Yeah, so the Homer Simpson one was simple that, whenever new joinees join this firm, there is almost a
Ragging
trend
होती
of
है.
positive ragging, let's put it that way, is the twist that they stated. Positive ragging, that we will rag them, and then eventually when they are unable to go beyond a particular level, we'll go ahead and tell them, oh, by the way, this was all just fun. But one person in last year's batch did not like it, and she knows that this is about to happen again in this year's batch. So what should she do? That was basically, I think, the question. And the question of what should she do so that she is not singled out.
Right.
I think that was mentioned. And there was only one option which stated as a group you are going to the...
That's right.
Yeah. There was
Go
just
with
one
as a
option.
group of lawyers.
Exactly.
Yes.
All other
That's
options were
what he-
singular. So I think this was easy to eliminate if students were reading it properly. The second one was then somebody has sent an anonymous mail, and now water cooler discussion is that she is the one. Now what should she do? And usme I think one of the options was she could go to the management and tell them, while I do not agree with this, it was not me.
हाँ,
And
that's right.
that's the one that I
That's right.
marked.
उसमें एक apologize था, एक explain था. Apologize नहीं था
Correct.
because he's not done anything wrong. Why should she apologize?
Correct.
Yes.
ऊपर से it was public apology. मतलब again going to everybody and telling them that did not make too much sense
Yes.
either. And then there was a third one wherein the two partners themselves are now discussing that probably it's
Yes.
time to move ahead from this tradition and make certain changes. So what should they do? Again, in that there was one option. Why don't you ask the newer people for their recommendations in
Yes.
terms of what to do? Or there was another key, mental health specialist you bring in
Three
and ask them
options
for it.
were there. Three options
हाँ,
were
Yeah,
there.
I'm just
Mental
letting
health
them
वाले
know.
तो-
I went with the first part.
Very good
यानी वो
options.
जबरदस्ती मेंटल हेल्थ स्पेशलिस्ट को ले आओ जाके.
And there were two for mental health. One was
Ah.
continue with what it is, and mental health specialist will be sitting there to help you. Second was ask the mental health specialist to devise this new, whatever social plan or something. And then the third one was obviously this one key. Just ask the youngsters. And I think that made a lot of sense because the youngsters have been through this for a year, so they know how it helps as well. Plus, they might be able to give a little bit of feedback on, what better way to do it. So, yeah, I think this was one of those where all three questions were probably
Yeah,
doable.
this is what Ojas is saying, and yes, Ojas, this
Yeah.
is what we think is the answer.
Correct. Newspaper pluralist. So, इसमें there was this thing about mining, right? Where you are
ये
going
वाला
ahead
मुश्किल
and,
था लगा. हाँ, ये मुश्किल है
yeah.
ना. हाँ, बिल्कुल.
Yeah. You're difficult. Undercover, you've gone and you've gotten some details and you want to publish. And the first question was, should
The
you
important
publish or
part
not?
was-
Because the lawyers are saying that it'll be risky. Should you publish or not? I think that was the first question.
हाँ, लेकिन
No.
in the STEM it was written that the people they did not want to be publicly called out, as in they did not want to get revealed.
Yeah, that was the second question. That was the second. Anonymous. That was the second question. In the first question, it was basically that should you even publish the report? And they were wondering whether the newspaper should publish the report or not because the legal team had told them that there is a chance that there could be a legal case against you. That was the
I
first
thought
question.
in this, I thought in the STEM itself it was written the last line that they did not want to be named in the newspaper. In the STEM,
You're right.
itself,
It was there in the STEM, but the second question is related to this.
was related to this.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. I'm saying that the first question wasn't related to this.
हाँ,
Yeah.
हाँ, हाँ.
So इसका आंसर जीपी आपका क्या था?
मैं सोचो क्या ऑप्शंस थे, मैं याद कर रहा हूँ इसमें. Because this question I found it a little tricky.
इसका one option, at least the one I went ahead with, one was that the
Legal.
lawyers anyway play it very safe. They're lawyers
हाँ.
for everything.
That
And
हाँ.
और उसमें contradiction था. In the question they have mentioned that lawyers are saying that it will backfire, while one of the options, I mean the option जो हमें select करना था, which is not going to work out, it said that lawyers तो बोलते रहते हैं, उनका काम है बोलना. Types.
Something like that. Exactly.
Ah.
That's the one that I had gone with. The second was now you published, but now you've realized that it has backfired, and the publisher or the guy who was the undercover agent realizes the two employees he had spoken to, they made up certain stuff. So what should you do? And isme one of the thing was, just make a few modifications, but back Aditya, the guy. Second
Yes.
was an apology from
Retract and
that
apologize.
lady. Correct. Then there was another one which is retract without an apology or something like that. There were three such options. Which one did you all go for? I went for the first one, which is just
Me
make
too.
modifications but stand by Aditya.
Yes, because he has been good so far. So
That was my logic, but this was tricky.
It
Because
is tricky.
when you know
इसमें जो है
yourself it's wrong,
at least two answer choices were possible इसमें. When it is very clear, because Aditya also his sources are now saying that हमने भी थोड़ा सा घपला करा है. They had been terminated. So it could even be that you retract the article and apologize, But who should
Yeah.
apologize? The editor should apologize, not anyone else. But it is the editor's decision to run with the story. But these first two questions, I was not sure. I'm not sure of the author. Though I went with the editor should apologize. They tracked the article and apologize, but I could be easily wrong in this question.
Yeah. Hopefully, one of us is right, GP. One Gotham gets it.
Ah.
Okay.
There are three other choices, Gotham. We'll need three other Gothams for this.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Third, what was the third question? I think the third question was,
आदित्य की रेपुटेशन वापस ठीक करनी है, उसको क्या
oh,
काम
yes.
दिया जाए?
Yes.
Give him some
I
other
don't remember
assignment.
what I did.
No, I went for give him some other assignment.
Another assignment. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, there was another assignment. There was a YouTube channel. There was, I will get a few more people to work on it, and you will be the consultant.
Yes.
The question
it was
clearly
something
said
along those
that
lines.
the question clearly said that editor knows that nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to come out of it.
So,
तो
so
उसको
the
कुछ भी
same
करना पड़ेगा।
investigation. Yeah. So same investigation you should not continue, because as Naveen is clearly remembers, the question stem had said this thing. The editor knows
Yeah.
nothing is going to come out of this investigation.
Isme, there was one point of confusion for me, and that point was why not start the YouTube channel, because they said start his own YouTube channel. Now, in his own, he can do whatever he wants. There is no slander.
मेरे को रवीश कुमार याद आ गया था वहां पे.
Which is that's why I started at it. Had it been the newspapers, YouTube, he can't do anything. It will not help him. But his own, and then people start following him, reputation can improve again. There is a possibility.
Gautam, what was the question exactly? What should the owner of the paper do, or what should the Aditya do?
No. What action should be taken or recommended? I don't remember. Recommended or taken.
Because the wording of the question can change the answer. If it is, if it was that what should the owner suggest, or what should the owner do, then I would say he should give Aditya another assignment in some other domain. If the question was what should the owner suggest or what should Aditya do, then the YouTube channel makes sense. So I'm just trying to recollect what was the exact statement of the question. I don't remember that part.
Nor do I.
Jay
That's the problem with you.
Jay is saying what should the owner do. If it is say what should the owner do, I would say give Aditya another assignment. If this is the statement.
But what should the owner do? And the option was ask Aditya to start a YouTube channel. So even there he is suggesting, but I agree that's a suggestion rather than an action. Here suggested the editor. Okay, I don't know. Okay. It will depend on what the actual wordings were. I agree. Last, I think hospital wala according to me was the easiest, because according to me there were because according to me there were actually two questions in this hospital one where you just needed to get rid of the canteen.
Canteen surplus item thi.
Bus.
Bekar item hai.
That is where it was resolved. One was canteen not needed, and second was use the canteen as the place to store that important things.
Because
those were two questions.
And pehle question mein ye bhi tha, apart from the fact that you could remove the shut down the canteen, the other was administrative staff ko jo hai work from home de do.
Correct. Correct.
I think uska answer ABC tha. I don't remember what was A, but I think the answer was ABC.
So, even I don't remember ABC, but it was work from home, it was canteen, and it was another one which was not needed, which was there was another thing that was not needed. Just like the canteen wasn't needed. Only emergency medicines can be bought. Only emergent medicines would be bought, because there are other dispensaries that have opened up side by side. So that was I think the third one.
lab test वाला तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं था.
Correct. So that I think kind of answers all the DM overall. GP.
So on an average, you can say, Gautam. So on an average, we can say 2 questions on an average in each set were doable. On an average,
14.
Which means about 14 questions you could do comfortably. Balance 7 is going to be your luck if we look at these questions. So that means if you have done all 21. In the worst case, in the best case, you will get 14 right and 7 wrong. Okay. In the worst case, sorry, that will be best case में तो बाकी सात
Yeah.
भी सही हो सकते हैं.
Yeah.
But if I look at this, 14 right and 7 let's say are wrong, कितना हुआ? 0.25 negative
11.
है ना? Let's say 2.
0.25. Yeah.
हाँ, so
Yeah.
2.75,
1.75.
1.75. ठीक है. So
Correct.
about 12 marks if you have got, it's a very good attempt in this paper. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Perfect.
ठीक है.
So, like we were stating, I think DM last year, the cutoff around that 85 percentile, 86 percentile mark was about 9.5 marks. This year, going by what we've just discussed, it might be slightly lower, GP. Would you agree? Probably a mark lower because
Yeah.
there is that element of trickiness. And okay,
Yeah.
I see.
See,
Ojas is
again, while we are saying 14 right may not happen. It might be 11, 12 right and 8 wrong. So, which is why if 12, which is why I said 12, I did not say is a good score. I said it's an outstanding score. It's a terrific score. I would say as long as you are in double dates, you have done a great job of this paper. So, the cutoff could go down by a mark or so.
And let's take 30 seconds, guys. We've discussed a lot of the questions, obviously not all. But say, can you just put in 21 attempts and how many do I think were right? Basis what we just discussed. If you just put it in the chat box, it'll just help us, suggest a little better, guess a little better, estimate a little better in terms of what the cutoff could be. So
And
say if you
remember,
attempted 21.
remember, there are some 5 odd questions in which Gautam, I, and Naveen, I don't
Yeah.
have a concurrence.
Correct. So you can put in two numbers. So 20 comma 12. It means 20 attempted and I'm expecting 12 marks. Something like that. So 20 and Ojas is saying about 15, 16 correct. Wow.
That's good.
That will be a score of about 14, 15.
Yeah.
That's
Fabulous.
nice.
12
Abhishek,
attempt. 20
20
attempts around
attempts.
14 correct.
That is
अरे
also
वाह,
good.
That's also very good.
very good. जोया
12
का
and a
बहुत
half.
अच्छा है.
12 and a half. Very good.
Okay.
Adarsh is also saying 20 attempts. Tricky plus lengthy. Attempted 12 and expecting about a score of 12. Sorry, attempted 20, expecting a score of 12.
अच्छी
So
चीज
going
ये
by
है कि
this,
practically everyone has attempted around 20 questions, it seems.
yeah, yeah. All attempted 15 correct is what Jay is saying. That's fabulous. That will be 13 and a half marks almost. Abhishek is saying 10
So even though people have attempted lesser, they are still in double digit correct.
I think as long as you, इसमें नवीन अच्छी चीज ये थी, every set, almost every set had 2 questions which were clearly you could pick up the answer. One odd set had 1 question, but to me this 12 to 14 correct answers is possible. After that, it is your luck whether you leave those questions or take a chance. If you leave those questions, that's okay. But if you have taken the chance, we'll get to know whether it has worked for you or not.
Joel attempt 11 correct. That is also pretty good.
Yeah.
10 plus.
So looks like a lot of students are expecting a 10 plus score. So which I think would be good, which might then mean that probably the cutoffs could go a little lower, but it also boils down. I'm guessing a lot of these students are 90 percentile plus, 95 percentile plus, whereas the cutoff will be sectional roughly around 84, 85. So let's see how it will pan out. Okay.
अगले section पे
Jay
चले.
Singh, ये देखिए लगा. Yeah, so we could move to Quant. Over to you, Naveen. GP, we could probably move to the Hindi one for DM.
DM करें हम. चलो. Naveen, you remember all the questions? शशांक को भी शशांक के साथ भी मैं सवाल किए थे सारे. तो Naveen, you would
Shashank is
also
coming.
have. हाँ, Shashank and Naveen have people who remember all questions.
Yeah, so Shashank would be coming here. Guys, thanks for that. Catch you in the Hindi one for DM now. Okay, bye.
Okay. So in QA so we'll start with DI. So in DI, what happened was there were 4 sets with 3 questions each. Okay. So all the 4 sets, I would say, were doable, but the thing was 2 of the sets, they were lengthy. Okay. So the one was the road diagram, the one content TSD geometry, which was based on Games of Thrones. Right. So GOT one. So this was a lengthy one. And sorry. Yeah. So this one was lengthy. And between influencer rating and average monthly income of male and female, calculation wise, the average monthly income one was lengthy. Influencer rating one was lengthy if you do not start with the question. If you start
नवीन
with the
सर,
first question and option, you'll find that this was very much doable. Haji.
वो लोग गए?
Haji.
अच्छा, ठीक है, तो ठीक है, शुरू
ठीक
करें?
है. हाँ. So they, the total number of questions that were doable was, you could have easily do somewhere around 8 questions. Okay, so 2 plus something was doable, and I think some very good students were able to do 10. So 8 to 10 doable. Okay,
आराम से.
QA linear equation, there were 2 questions. Coordinate geometry, there was 1. Mensuration, there were 3 questions, which was weird. Okay, ratio and proportion, just 1. SICI wala, just 1. Probability ka 1. Surds 1. Grid based, so this is basically miscellaneous, 1. Circles, which is more like miscellaneous, along with
वो
simply
mensuration वाला,
basically number based कह सकते हैं इसको,
एरिया वाला
है
ना?
ना. हाँ, नहीं, एरिया नहीं, डस्टबिन जो प्लेस्ड है जिसका वो 525 35 सॉरी
वो पता नहीं,
232
वो 250 था उसका आंसर.
250 आ रहा था. मेरा और जीबी का
The range
260 आ
was,
रहा था.
I got range from 245 to 257.
अच्छा, अब मेरा जीबी का आ रहा था, इट वाज ग्रेटर देन 250. चलो चेक कर लेते हैं. Averages was 1. So this one was a little bit tricky because it was not a typical formula based question. Numbers based, we had 1 question. Heights and distances, 1 question. Logarithm, 1 question. So that was the complete breakup. So if we start with QA, so QA ka, my first question was ratio wala. So first question was those 25 hotel rooms.
उसका
Single
आंसर
occupancy, double occupancy.
77,500.
Right, single, double, triple occupancy wala tha. The answer was 77,500. The second question was ABCD is a rectangle whose area is 24. Line का equation बताना था, one of the possibilities.
Y equal to
जिसका
6.
answer was y is equal to 6. So I'll write down simultaneously whether it was doable or not. So this one was moderate. Okay, this one was moderate, easy moderate, I would say. Why moderate? Because if you're not going to look at the options, you'll get a lot of possibilities. You'll spend a lot of time there. But the moment you look at the options and use options to get there, you will realize that since one of the sides is on the x-axis, the other side of the rectangle should be parallel to it. So there were 3 options that you can straight away rule out. One was, 2 of them were slope based, one was cannot be determined. So y is equal to 6 was the answer for that. So easy, moderate. Third question was, we had 2 people. One was square and another was circle, and their perimeter were equal. So equal perimeter. We had to find the ratio of the areas. And the answer was pi is to 4. Right? I'll call this easy. Straight away though. Do you remember the other options, Shashank? मुझे बाद में strike किया.
क्या?
Pi is to 4 एक. Pi square is to 4 भी था ऐसा?
Pi square is to 4 भी था, pi is to 2 भी था, 1 is to 1 भी था, 1 is to pi भी था.
हाँ. So all the other options will rule out. Sorry?
नहीं, एक आंसर यही था.
Answer यही था. I'm saying all the other options will rule out because if you guys remember, if you have equal perimeter, then area will be greater for a particular shape, which has got more
Number of
sides. right? So area is supposed to be greater for that. So obviously the circle area is supposed to be greater. So pi square is to 4. This is not true because 9 is to 4 में उसका area ज़्यादा नहीं है. Then 1 is to 1 is not possible. 1 is to 4 is not possible. So even if you remember this, you will realize that uh, only one option made sense. जहाँ तक मुझे this thing struck me after I was done with the question.
No,
Options से भी तो
this
कर सकते.
thing is struck me, but there were two options. Pi is to 4 and 1 is to pi.
अच्छा 1 is to pi भी था, which obviously will not make sense.
Shaurya, the answer for that question is 77,500.
Okay. The next question is that we have a circle, and in the circle, so every second one is at least 800 steps farther, and every third one was at most 1260 steps away, right? So यहाँ थोड़ा contradiction है. शशांक के हिसाब से he is getting 250. As per me, I'm getting 260. Okay, let's see what students are saying. What did they get? चलो, we'll come back to this. इसको अभी बैठना पड़ेगा. हाँ. So पहले तो मेरे को strike किया, is it going to be 220 because it should be a multiple of 11 because pi has a 22. Then I realized कि actually वो तो दूसरे side जाने वाला है. हाँ, and इसमें there was one more thing कि step का length was 7 by 9 meters. ये भी था 0.77.
आपने 7 by 9 लिया हुआ है, मैंने 0.77 लेके किया हुआ है कैलकुलेटर से.
मैंने 7 by 9 लिया था.
मैंने कैलकुलेटर ही.
I don't think उससे ज्यादा फर्क पड़ेगा.
उससे वैल्यू में डिफरेंस, उससे थोड़ा, क्योंकि ज्यादा वैसे भी ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं है उसमें. तो मेरी वैल्यू जो गई थी वो 257 तक गई थी, 245 से 257.
So our inequality is completely different. I got, GB also got greater than 250 something. You are saying you got less than 250 something and greater than 240 something. So हमारा range का ही पूरा लोचा है, value का नहीं है.
ठीक.
तो दोनों में से किसी एक का गड़बड़ हुआ है. Next one was employee.
Shaurya, what you have done, exactly same thing I have done, just calculate the values with that. You will get the answer.
Employee rating average. The answer was that option which says largest cannot be 40.
Largest cannot be 40.
Highest is 39 that we can have. उससे ज़्यादा नहीं हो सकता था. Then we have the question where we had quadrilateral था. So quadrilateral land था ये, and इसको मैं ऐसे draw करता हूँ so that opposite angles are 90, and this is what we have. इसको अगर मैं draw कर दूँ तो I believe you guys will understand that I've taken this to be 90 and this to be 90 as well. So in this I marked that particular option which said only second से answer आएगा, first से नहीं आएगा. Combine करने की जरूरत नहीं थी. Now, why? One said, the first statement said that one of the sides is कितना दिया होता?
110.
Is 110. And second one said that this particular diagonal
is 250.
This D was 255. So how can we find out the radius? Radius nahi. Area. Area of this particular region. So मैंने proper solve नहीं किया था, but I was like कि since these two are 90, so this is basically a cyclic quadrilateral, right? Cyclic quadrilateral, and if I call the sides as A, B, C, D, we will have A square plus D square is equal to 255 square, which was same as B square plus C square. We were also given A plus B plus C plus D as 770, I think. ऐसे ही
700.
था. So if I square on
700.
both the sides, I will be able to get rid of 700. अच्छा. So A square plus B, A square plus D square and B square plus C square को मैं इधर replace कर लूँगा. I will be left with twice AB plus BC plus
AB
CD
plus CD कैसे
plus.
still then
Sorry?
you are going to need one more value. Still then you are going to need one more value. 2 times
हाँ
A
नहीं,
square
AB
plus B
plus
square plus 2 times AB plus CD.
नहीं मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि A plus B plus C plus D का if I square it, so I'll be getting twice AB.
कुछ तो चाहिए रहेगा.
हाँ, twice AB,
additional
twice
value
CD plus AC plus AD plus BC plus BD. Let's say ये
एक
मेरे को
दोनों
चाहिए,
चाहिए.
ठीक है? And this is going to give me certain value. Sorry?
both are
अब
needed.
क्या है ना कि अच्छा, so cyclic quadrilateral में don't we have that product of the sum of the opposite sides
Tolmes
is equal to
theorem.
product of the diagonal? Tolmes theorem?
Product of the
तो उससे कुछ
diagonal ना
simplify नहीं
Tolmes
हो
theorem.
सकता?
नहीं. both
उससे
are
कुछ
needed.
ये both का जरूरत पड़ेगा? ठीक है. तो both इसका आंसर होगा, not only two. मैं यहाँ तक गया, मैंने कहा यार आ गया टॉलमी से we will be able to get rid of some part because AD and BC ही तो चाहिए ना मेरे को. इसे ही तो एरिया दे देगा.
हाँ. AB
half AD plus half BC is the area of this.
हाँ. लेकिन उसके अलावा और भी वेरिएबल आएंगे ना, मल्टीपल वेरिएबल्स होंगे.
हाँ, so AC plus BD is what? Basically product of the diagonals, right? तो एक डायगोनल D है एंड ये वाला जो है हमारा सर्किल है. चलो मैंने पूरी तरह सॉल्व नहीं किया. आई वाज लाइक कि यहाँ तक आ गए हैं, मोस्ट लाइकली विल बी एबल टू एलिमिनेट इट बिकॉज़ आई वाज लाइक कि एक साइड और देने से हम क्या ही निकाल लेंगे. ट्रिपलेट बन नहीं रहा था मेरे से.
हाँ,
Okay.
ट्रिपलेट नहीं बन रहा था लेकिन हो जाएगा उससे.
Right. Next question was
that वो बीम वाला क्वेश्चन जहाँ पे वैल्यू इज क्या कहते हैं, वैल्यू ऑफ द बीम इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू द लेंथ स्क्वायर.
right. Value of beam is directly proportional to L square, and the answer was loss, and loss was that of 42.6, 46.2.
42.6.
42.6% loss was the answer. Another one was phone was bought, UPI, and then using cash and so on, and tax was paid, which was 6,000. Right. The answer for this is 1,20,000. Then we have this question, which was f of x is equal to ax square plus bx plus a. This was a question based on probability, where it was given that we have irrational roots, and what is the probability that a plus b is going to be greater than 9, where it was given that a and b individually they are less than equal to 9. So the answer मेरे को जो आया था, I think 7/15 आया था.
I got the same.
ठीक है. अच्छा, ये भी लिखना था ना कि easy है कि difficult है. Okay. This one was difficult.
जो है वो difficult था.
Employer rating was easy. This one was difficult. This one was easy. Easy. I'll call this difficult because unless and until you do not write down all the cases, भूल जाओ, नहीं होने वाला ये. कोई pattern नहीं था उसमें. Okay, next question was cube root of 3 to the power a, 21 to the power 3a minus b, and 49 to the power 2b plus c. This is an integer. So the question was, what is the relation?
A minus B and
So
C तीन का multiple होना चाहिए.
a minus b and c both should be multiple of 3. This should be the answer. And this I would call it as moderate because students are not comfortable with breaking. जैसे ये हमारा एक आ रहा था 4a minus b. 4a minus b is a multiple of 3 will happen जब हम लोग इसको 3a में break कर दे और a minus b में break कर दे. तो ये 3 का multiple already है, इसको होना है. Because one of the options was straight away ABC should be multiple of 3. जो कि obvious है, but that was not the necessary condition. Another one was we had a 4 cross 4 grid and across 13 है इसका आंसर, and across is supposed to be put such that वो completely fill हो. तो I was in a hurry, of course, solve करते हैं तो रहता है कि जल्दी जल्दी करो. So I was like 12 is the answer, but 12 option में था नहीं. अगर होता ना तो शायद मैं mark कर देता. So I realized कि okay, it's saying that we need to complete it, as in वो एक row या column should get completed. So I was like कि एक और तो put करना पड़ेगा, right? So if I decide कि these all should not be put, so सारे cross कर दिए थे, कोई row कोई column cross नहीं है, so एक और place करना पड़ेगा. So that gave us 13 as the answer. This I think should be easy.
So may I interject?
Yes, ma'am.
I think was one of the easiest questions. Because मैंने भी ये
वो
सही किया.
grid वाला.
हाँ.
Grid वाला.
हाँ.
कितना
ये grid
undermine
वाला
करते हो
और
आप खुद को.
UPI वाले ये दो questions मैंने बहुत एकदम फटाफट पकड़ लिए थे.
Difficult
I was
तो
like,
होंगे.
I was able to do it. तो सबसे आसान होगा.
हाँ सर, मेरा तो देखिए, if I am able to do something in quant, then it has to be the easiest question. Because I am
Ma'am,
not.
I'll tell you one thing. मैम मैंने VA के जितने क्वेश्चन किए हैं, 3-4 ही किए हैं, वो सारे आपने बोले डिफिकल्ट है. ठीक है, मैं बस 4 ही कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है, और मैं अपने आप को अंडरमाइन नहीं कर रहा. मैं बोलूंगा ठीक है, अच्छा होगा. वो सब तो गलत हो सारे.
So this was another mensuration, 3D mensuration wo. So I made a mistake here. एक जगह I had to actually get rid of 2. So मैं मतलब एक तरह से मैंने 4 times change कर दिया. So divided by 2 की जगह multiplied by 2 होना चाहिए था. So I was getting 1 something something. और मेरे को जो नियरेस्ट दिख रहा था, आई थिंक इट वाज 123 ऐसा कुछ नंबर था, जबकि एक्चुअल आंसर शुड बी 4 टाइम्स ऑफ इट.
473 आ रहा था मेरा.
हाँ वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि हाँ. सो 4 लाख आई विल टेल यू कि ऑप्शंस क्या थे. 473 दिस इज द करेक्ट आंसर और आई मेड द मिस्टेक हियर. सो ये मेरा गलत हो गया मुझे लगता है. So I'll consider this as moderate to difficult. Why moderate to difficult? Because it was calculation intensive, and for example, in my particular paper, this was one of the first 4 or 5 questions. Which means if I'm not comfortable with that calculator, so there were a lot of calculations, addition, division that was supposed to be used. So chances है कि ये आपको टाइम लगता है इसको सॉल्व करने में.
इसमें भी कैलकुलेटर यूज हुआ था. आई डिड यूज इट.
हाँ, आई हैड टू यूज इट. तो वही बोल रहा हूँ कि वो उसमें गलत हो गया था. ओके, नेक्स्ट वन इज वी हैव देयर इज अ
वो इंटीजर्स वाले क्वेश्चन के 2 से लेके
और यहाँ पे शेल्फ था 7 फीट हाइट.
अच्छा वो वाला 7 माइनस रूट.
हाँ. So answer for this is 7 minus root 3, which was I think the last option for me. This was easy. No cos tan required. All you had to do was use 30, 60, 90 wala. Another question that we had was log.
Actually, after considering the base itself, then only the answer is 4,73,000. So if you think we have not considered the base, no, we have. तो इसी तक उसके बाद ही आंसर वो आएगा.
हाँ हाँ, बेस कंसीडर करने के बाद आएगा. So what I did was I looked at this question and guess करो सुशांक, what mistake did I make?
कि x नेगेटिव नहीं हो सकता.
ना, मैंने सबको A ले लिया और मैंने फिर क्वेश्चन देखा ही नहीं.
तो आंसर 0 आ
obviously नहीं, then obviously A cannot be negative.
हाँ, तो 1 आ गया.
एक मेरा आंसर आ गया. पर after having discussion later on, I was told कि it was X and A. I was like, there were two variables. So very silly mistake. It was very easy question. Actually, the question is simply x square minus x minus something is equal to 0. How many roots are you going to get? You're going to get 2 roots. Perfect square बन नहीं रहा. So you just have to check that. हाँ, बस वही check करना था और कुछ था नहीं इसमें. Silly mistake. Then there was this question where we had a line which was y times k x minus 1, and then we had another one which was y is equal to x and plus c. Both these, they meet at 5,8, and the options were not very direct. Unless and until you do not draw it or you have no idea how to find the intercepts or the distance from x-axis, y-axis, how to find out the equation of line, ये बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता. So basically, the y-intercept.
What did I do? I simply calculated y-intercept and x-intercept.
Is the correct answer because this can't happen. हाँ, मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि ये देखो कुछ क्वेश्चंस क्या होते हैं ना कि जैसे क्वेश्चन नंबर 13 आपने सॉल्व करा, आपको ऑप्शन मैच करना है. 15 में आप क्या ही सॉल्व करोगे, because they had asked us different things. So for each option we had to check.
What did I do? I calculated the equation of both lines. I simply calculated the intercepts. और दो ऑप्शन थे. y x इंटरसेप्ट का डिस्टेंस ये है, y का इतना, y वाला नहीं था, खत्म. बाकी कुछ करना. y इंटरसेप्ट बस
तुम्हारा लक तो भाई वैसा ही है ना
सर. किस्मत चल जाती है और कुछ नहीं आता कहाँ.
The next one was क्या था? The last question. Which one am I missing?
वो वाला क्वेश्चन के 2 से लेके 40 तक नंबर है. कौन कितने नंबर ऐसे होंगे?
Right. So 2 to 40 we have numbers, and let's say there is a number which lies between these, says that n and any number are co-prime. So basically another way of saying that their HCF or GCD was 1. So it will only happen for all prime numbers greater than half of 40, which is 20. So इसका आंसर 4 था. Pretty straightforward question. So I'll call this easy. So out of all these 16 questions of QA, how many questions were actually doable? Let's count this. So this one was doable. I think ये भी कर लेना चाहिए था आपको. 3, 4 questions, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 तो definitely doable था, right?
नहीं सर, इन लोगों ने डीएमबी किया हुआ है तो 10 से कम ही हो.
Sorry?
इन लोगों ने डीएमबी किया है तो 10 से कम ही हो.
वो तो डिपेंड करता है कि which section they started off with.
डीएम उसके बाद डीआई के भी तो क्वेश्चन है. सो बेसिकली आई थिंक 14 15 would be a reasonable attempt. 16 17 इतना आराम से हो गया होगा. QA और डीआई अभी डीआई के भी तो क्वेश्चन करने.
हाँ, so basically if see DI was at the end, right, for everyone?
Yeah, last 12.
So if you can keep a track of as to how many questions you guys have attempted and normally what has been your accuracy, So if the moment you realize that you were at 9 or 10 questions, your target was to somehow solve one DI set and you were done. You were good to go. As in you can skip that section, move over to the next one. Because sectional cutoff to aapka ho gaya clear. Now it's about maximizing. So you had to figure out the next DI or DM or something in RC. So वो फिर important हो जाता. So वो selection. Okay, let's go to पहला वाला set जो था, that was influencer rating वाला. So उसका one of the questions was कि what was the रवि नाम था ना. So रवि का कौन सा वाला था? What was the
ये रवि और आर और एस वाला.
हाँ, रवि ने गैजेट ए में क्या फिल करा होगा so that there is going to be one unique answer. So the answer was 4. ठीक है. The second question was
कितने केस बनेंगे? उसका आंसर है 3 केस.
Sorry, this is not Ravi, this was R1.
R1.
हाँ. So
R2
R2
कितनी वैल्यू देगा?
हाँ, R2 can rate B in how many ways?
2 ways.
So the answer was 2. And the third one was how many different, so total cases kitne ban rahe the basically, total cases in the set. So that was 3. Okay. Now this set is either easy moderate or it is moderate difficult. If you try to fill the matrix, whatever grid was given, then you will realize that there are going to be 2 cases, then further 2 cases, and uske further 2 cases. You will realize that there are 8 cases possible. And if you have practiced enough, you should know that when you are getting so many cases, that's not the right way to approach that particular problem. What you could have done was straight away jumped over to the first question, and the first question gave you a perfect idea कि एक बार 4 रख के देखो, there is going to be one question, one possibility, and next is 5. Because if you look at the values in the cells, you cannot have less than 4 or more than 5, because एक जगह जैसे 4 से कम करोगे उधर 6 हो जाएगा. Rating was you can't have more than 5. So that was the biggest hint. So obviously, instead of taking 7-8 minutes in order to solve this particular DI, you could have solved it within 5 minutes. Question पहला देख लेते हैं.
Actually, I'll tell you, Srishti and Arjun are saying के 5 भी आ सकता है. So basically, if you are going to make case for A, तो अगर तुमने 4 रखा है, so there is going to be only one arrangement, 5 4 5. ठीक है, तो उससे एक ही possible arrangement होगा. But if you are going to put 5 over there, you are going to get 2 cases, 5 4 4 and 5 5 3. इस और क्वेश्चन वाज आस्किंग कि ऐसी क्या वैल्यू दे कि सिंगुलर अरेंजमेंट है. सो अगर आप 5 दोगे तो 2 केसेस आएंगे, 4 दोगे तो एक ही बनेगा, इसलिए 5 पॉसिबल नहीं होगा.
हाँ, so we had these, no, A, B, C, D था, and R1, R2, R3, R4 था. मैं ये कर ही देता हूँ because it will be recorded, so anybody who is going to check it later on, उनको पूरा आइडिया लग जाएगा कि क्या था. So this is 3, this is 4, this was 3, this one was 5, this one was 4, this one was 5, and this one was
नहीं, इसके नीचे वाला है, नवीन से 4 नीचे वाला है.
हाँ, 5 और 4
नहीं, वो तो ठीक है.
हाँ, 5 और 4 इधर होगा. ठीक है, तो I'm going to write down all the 3 cases. So पहला वाला क्या था कि यहाँ पर 4 हो सकता है. So if there is going to be 4, there is going to be only one possibility, which is this is going to be 5. ये 10 4 और ये 2, and there was a 5 here, no? 5 था, 4 था. किसी एक का वैल्यू अभी निकालना पड़ेगा.
किसका?
There was going to be 4, there was going to be a 5, there was going to be
यार सम जो है ना सम साइड
3.
में लिख लो.
हाँ,
सम लिख लो तो उससे आसान रहेगा. 16 16 16 17 16
वो
16.
तो याद है. 16 16 16 17 था, तो ये 17
नहीं
तो हो
बच्चा
गया.
समझाने में थोड़ा आसान रहेगा. सर लास्ट में सम 17 नहीं बन रहा है, गलत है थोड़ा सा. लास्ट वाले रो में.
So this is
तो
8, right?
दिस इज 8 9 चाहिए.
हाँ, तो if I take this as 4 and if I take this as 5, this is 17 and this is 4 4 5 3. This is 7 10. नहीं, तो यहाँ 2 नहीं होगा.
सर यहाँ पे 3 नहीं आएगा, 4 आएगा. You are going to start with bottom corner is going to be 5. Bottom corner.
ये 16 था ना. ये तो यही था.
सर यहाँ पे एकदम जो R4D है ना, वहां पे 5 से शुरू करो.
10 17 10
तो यहाँ पे
17.
3 आ जाएगा. यहाँ पे 5
3 नहीं हो सकता ना.
नहीं, क्यों नहीं हो सकता?
5 कैसे है? 16 थोड़ी 16 नहीं होगा ना.
तो
हाँ भाई, बोल रहा हूँ कि this was 4 plus 4 and 3 plus 5. ये 8 था and this was 8 and this was 9 and then this was 17. This was 8 and this was 10 16. So 4 के साथ there was only one possibility. If I put a 5 here, this is going to be 4 and that is going to be 4, so this is going to be 3. Now we will have 2 cases that we can put. So किसका वो क्वेश्चन था कि 5 यहाँ पर 5 क्यों नहीं हो सकता? This is the reason.
अगर 5 रखेंगे तो 2 पॉसिबिलिटी बन जाएंगे, इसलिए 5 नहीं है.
So blue one is where you will be getting 2 cases. Red one is 1. Okay, the next set was after influencer rating. It was average monthly salary. So what were the questions?
Should I tell you the questions?
Which city?
Average
Gender
monthly salary वाला ना.
Change the list.
उसमें पहला क्वेश्चन है कि किस उसमें सिटी में लोएस्ट परसेंटेज जेंडर गैप है. सो आंसर इज आई था. Which of the following statements are false about the income of the cities? तो उसका ये था कि in 2005 the average income of men is less than 30,000. That is false.
क्योंकि मिनिमम तो 30,000 था ही.
So
a lot of students. So I received calls from, not lot, I'd say 3-4 students. उनका था कि सर ये क्वेश्चन गलत है, सेकंड वाला. So they forgot that when we are calculating the average monthly salary of the people, the number of people are required, which was never given in this in the set. So the number of men in each city हमें नहीं पता है. So it could be in one of the cities there can be 1 lakh men and in the other city there may be only 1 man, right? So depending upon weights, it may be more, it may be less. But if the average income of men in every city is going to be 30,000 or more, तो यार एवरेज तो उससे ज्यादा ही होगा ना, या उसके बराबर ही होगा, उससे कम तो नहीं हो सकता. So that's why this was, so basically if you think about it, तो it was very easy question. और अगर कुछ ज्यादा सोच लिया ना तो आपको लगेगा ये क्वेश्चन ही गलत है.
और वुमेन के केस में दो वैल्यूज 22,000 से कम थी. तो
राइट,
उनमें
तो
अगर
वो ना
increase
ज्यादा
number
वेट में
number of women उसमें बहुत ज्यादा हो गए. If you are going to have a lot of women in those two cities, 2 lakhs, 2 lakhs. In other cities, there are 5 women. Then average will be less than 22,000. So that's the reason the woman one cannot be true.
So in this one, the question was unscaled वाला था. Uh,
I don't have
इसका
the
आंसर
option. I don't remember the
ऑप्शन
option.
इसका मैं बताता हूँ. इसमें था कि
Even students won't remember, Naveen. It's okay. I think we can move to the next.
मुझे याद है. The question was which of the
अच्छा.
following is false. जिसमें था
हाँ.
140% increase for women. True था. Which of the following cannot be incorrect? नहीं. Which of the following is going to
Cannot
be
be correct.
incorrect? Cannot be
Cannot be
correct या
correct.
will be
Cannot be.
incorrect. तो उसमें 140% increase वाला fine. Men का भी increase वाला it was fine. For
120%
G का
increase वाला
एक
भी
H
fine.
का था. हाँ. So उसमें the one that was not working out, I think it was either the fourth or the fifth option, which was about कि इनका जो था. So I remember it was the fifth option क्योंकि पहले 4 options सारे workout कर रहे थे. First 4 options all were either
10 cities
true
saw a
or
drop.
could be true.
हाँ.
Sorry?
This guy Deep has answered. All 10 cities saw a drop. That was.
हाँ. All 10
Thanks,
cities
Deep.
saw a drop.
Thanks a lot, Deep.
All 10 cities saw a drop. This was a false statement. नहीं था ऐसा. This was not. I mean, it's not always going to be incorrect. ये सही था. Good. Thank you, Deep. 2 sets. Third set was.
वो triangle वाला, path वाला.
So Game of Thrones. So basically, it was question. This was the question based on a bit of TST and similarity and Pythagoras theorem. So ये मैं बता देता हूँ. ये जो distance था, ये 120 kilometers आ रहा था, and this was the distance which was turning out to be 150 kilometers. This was the distance which was 90 kilometers, and this was the distance जो कि इसका आ रहा था 2/3 ना.
2/3 60 आएगा.
60 kilometers आ रहा था. And then later on they said कि यार इसको ऐसा कर लो कि अब ये 50 हो जाए. तो 5, 12, 13 में ये 130 kilometers बनता था. So one of the
maximum
questions.
distance, maximum speed would be in this question. The maximum speed would be 120.
120 था इसका आंसर. One of the question was M से O से L से W जा रहा है, where this was M, this was O, this was L, this was W, and this was also a name.
720.
हाँ, so 7 hours 28 minutes. This was the answer. Another question was
Top से चल रहा है, दूसरा bottom से चल रहा है.
हाँ, so basically one guy is
O से 6.67 meters नीचे.
Sorry, ये नहीं था. Actually, there was that one person starts from here. One person starts from here and reaches here, and the other person starts from here and reaches here. तो ये हमें बताना था. This was the point. So it was कितना? 3.6. 20 by 3 kilometers. Right.
South.
From O. I think it was the first option. And the third question was अच्छा third अच्छा ये जो King's Landing आ गया था. So the time taken had to be reduced by 20 minutes. So 65 minutes में cover करना था. So the speed was 120 kilometers per hour. This was the answer. Next one was we have 2 people, R and S, and they are writing weekly tests. 8 weeks का है. And it was given that Ravi's was, let's say, a number, and it was consistent in the remaining ones. S का पहला वाला was same. Then this was twice, and then the last four were same. We did not know anything about the third and the fourth week. So questions were, इसका क्वेश्चन बता दोगे जरा सेशन?
एक क्वेश्चन था कि which of the following can be true. एस का पहले राउंड का स्कोर 2 हो सकता है.
So basically, S का round 1. So basically A can be
2.
So this was the answer. Another question was कि R का नहीं sorry S का ही.
R का फर्स्ट टेस्ट का स्कोर 4 है, तो S का थर्ड टेस्ट का स्कोर क्या है?
Okay, R का
फर्स्ट टेस्ट का स्कोर 4 है.
That is A is 4.
तो S के थर्ड टेस्ट का स्कोर क्या है?
Right. Third test का score. This का
0 था. हाँ.
It was 0. So this is basically these R1, R2, R3. These are tests. Okay. Third.
और थर्ड है R के सेकेंड टेस्ट का, रवि के सेकेंड टेस्ट का स्कोर 1 है. So
maximum.
S के सारे टेस्ट का सम कितना है? I think that came out to be 9.
It was 9. So these are the answers. I think out of all the answers, I'm only confused. As in, I'm not sure about this वो trophy वाला, जो कि most likely मेरा गलत है. So I'm not sure. And then there was ये वाला DS वाला question. These two questions I'm not sure.
DS वाले का तो नवीन, DS वाला should not be a problem. इसका both आएगा statements ना?
Both आएगा? नहीं, वो शशांक ने तो बता दिया. मैं अपने तरफ से बता रहा हूँ कि मैंने कुछ ज्यादा सोच लिया था and I did not solve further.
मैं देख रहा हूँ ये बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सी क्वेश्चन बन गई, क्योंकि एक साइड 110 है, सपोजिंग A is 110, सो D स्क्वायर निकल जाएगा, मेरा D निकल जाएगा, A प्लस D निकल गया तो B प्लस C निकल जाएगा. इसमें हमें फाइंड क्या करना था? एरिया था ना? हाँ.
नवीन सर ने जो सोचा,
ABCD इंटीजर्स है कि नहीं है?
नहीं, I don't think something like that was mentioned.
अगर something like that was not mentioned, so can they be? मैं भी कंफ्यूज हो रहा हूँ. A प्लस A, अगर मैं लिखता हूँ B और C, can there be multiple values for B and C? नहीं, 90 डिग्री है ना?
Doesn't matter. हाँ, doesn't matter. कुछ भी हो, B ऊपर की जगह नीचे आएगा तो एरिया तो फिक्स रहेगा. So together, तो I understand कि together है. I'm saying कि मैं एक बार वो चेक करूंगा.
क्योंकि पेपर में मैंने ज्यादा सोचा ही नहीं. मैंने कहा 2 राइट एंगल ट्रायंगल बन रहे हैं, एक साइड गिवन है, टोटल सम गिवन है, तो मैं तो उतने पे कहा कि आंसर, वैसे भी इसमें आंसर इंडिविजुअल तो हो ही नहीं सकता था, यदि नन ऑफ द कैन नॉट बी सॉल्व या कैन बी सॉल्व विद बोथ, यही हो सकते थे आंसर.
तो ये है. Okay.
Overall, it's discussed. Yeah, I think this part we did at the beginning as well, Naveen. In the English analysis, we've already gone through a little bit regarding the top B schools and cutoffs, but we can just go back. Let's go back to it once more. If you just go back a couple of slides, because there are two important things, and I think आगे if you just go back to the cutoff वाला, yeah. So इस पे एक चीज, sorry, the previous one. Yeah, इस पे one thing like we mentioned earlier, 96 percentile will be the cutoff for Excel. But GP, I think one important thing that you just spoke about in our Hindi analysis, which is all colleges below XIMB, which is IMT, GL, GIM, TAPME, they'll not have sectional cutoffs. So if you end up clearing the overall perspective, if you end up scoring a 25, 27, and so on and so forth, even if sectionals aren't that great, you will end up getting calls. So XIM Bhubaneswar will have a sectional cutoff, but IMT and others will not have any sectional. So I think that is one thing that students should be slightly aware of. We had discussed the cutoff and we had stated that the overall cutoff we expected to remain exactly the same as last year, which means if the cutoff is going to be around 96 percentile, we expect it to be about 26 and a half, 27, because verbal might fall by a mark, mark and a half, quant might increase by a mark, mark and a half, and decision making might be more or less the same. We had actually anticipated DM would also fall, but looking at the kind of answers and the numbers that students were throwing here, almost every second person had attempted upwards of 18, 19 questions, and they were feeling that they'll get about 13, 14 correct out of them. So, which means a huge chunk of students should get a score of 11 plus. So, hence, that is what we feel. Anything that you would like to add here, GP?
No, I think that the critical thing you have mentioned already. So if you're someone who's getting, let's say, 20 marks in quant, but the overall score is going to be only 28, 30 because you messed up either verbal or DM or both, don't worry. All these institutes are available to you. So to me, if you happen to be in that category, please look at the colleges in that list where the application date is open, and please apply there. Unless you are looking at the retake for next year. Okay. Secondly, in any case, in the next 3-4 days, you will get the response sheet, and you will get to know clearly where you stand, and then take those calls as to what you should be doing next. Okay.
Naveen, we can probably move ahead. So, having said that, one thing, guys, that you all can probably keep in mind is what will come up on the slide now as we move ahead and move to the next slide, which is if you are going to be one of those, Naveen, probably the next one, if you're going to be one of those who is expecting a score of 25, 26 or above, then there is a very, very high chance that you will end up getting a call from some of the top institutes. So probably it makes sense to go ahead and kickstart your GDPR preparation. But in order to get more clarity regarding the same, and for us to be able to better predict whether that will be the cutoff or not, go and use the XAT calculator ASAP. careerlauncher.com/cat-mba/zat. Please use it ASAP. It is going to be very important. It is also going to go help us predict what the cutoff could be. जो as of now tentatively 26 and 27 लग रहा है, वही होगा, बढ़ेगा, घटेगा, क्या है, जितना डेटा आएगा उससे ही पता चलेगा. But if you're going to be one of those जिसका 25, 26 plus है, you have a good chance of getting at least one call. And अगर आपका 27, 28 plus है, Excel का तो guaranteed call आएगा. 32, 33 plus है, you might end up scoring 97, 98 percentile. So kickstart your preparation. And as we move to the next slide, you can kickstart your GDPI preparation immediately. And that is basically what this slide is all about. That if it's gone well, मतलब अगर 25 plus है, तो आपका कहीं ना कहीं से तो call आने वाला है. You are expected to get a call from somewhere or the other. Kickstart your phase 2. If it didn't go off too well, 20 or below, there are 3 more exams coming up on the 25th of January. CMAT, XGMT and MyCat. All 3 of them are coming up. Go ahead, prep for them. There's a good chance you might end up getting a call from that. But if you're going to be one of those who has a good chance of scoring, like Naveen has pointed out, 24 and above, kickstart your preparation. And 27 plus with very good chance of XLRI call. 32, 33 to means your 97, 98, very good chance of conversions as well. Very high chance of conversion. Not that if you score 27, 28, convert nahi kar paoge. Just that at 32, 33, it just increases it that much more. Yeah. Perfect. And on the next slide, you'll have a QR code which you can scan to go ahead and get more information and go ahead and register for the PDP course if you're interested. A couple of y'all right at the beginning of this session had stated, sir, XAT I had just experimented with. I'm actually a CAT 25 student. What should I do? Well, you can go ahead and kickstart with the CAT 2025 program as well. We've got multiple programs. One of them is the test series, which is available here to the left as well. We've got classroom program, which you can go ahead and enroll in at any center, in India, or you can enroll in an online classes program as well. There are multiple variants available for the same. You can go ahead and have a look at it. But that's about it from our end. Hopefully, we tried something new here. Thanks a lot to Shashank, Naveen, GP, and Abhilasha. We've kind of been switching between 2 different streams. शशांक स्पेशली आई थिंक हिंदी उसे 2 बार बोलनी पड़ी, अभिलाषा को इंग्लिश 2 बार बोलनी पड़ी, जीपीएनआई डीएम। एंड प्रॉब्लम ये है हम लोग को डीएम के जो क्वेश्चंस इंग्लिश में नहीं याद आ रहे थे वो हिंदी में भी नहीं याद आ रहे थे, तो हेल्प नहीं हुआ कुछ, इंग्लिश से करके गए। इट डिडंट रियली हेल्प but but yeah, I think this is something new that we tried. Do give us feedback whether it makes sense to have 2 streams or just continue with one where we do it in a English manner, because we were getting feedback that a few of you all wanted it to be in Hindi, because it is just slightly easier for you to follow.
क्लिष्ट भाषा का प्रयोग नहीं कर पाए।
Harsh, whatever answers are given for QA and DI, they all are correct. Okay, so if you have any doubt, just wait until the response sheet is out. Response sheet आ जाए तो उसके बाद फिर वो हम सही आप सही वो सब सही हो जाएगा. Okay, and Samyak, please go and watch the video. Check on the timeline where we have discussed. I did answer the average wala question answer.
Gautam, this question I didn't understand. Anmol wala question. मैंने भी यही डाला है. I didn't understand the question. I am confused whether to join career launcher.
There's almost like that. Gautam, it is almost like that verbal.
Anmol, if you are confused, then join.
Very confused here. Anmol,
Yes,
we need more information.
Us also.
We need more information or we need options to eliminate either of them.
Anmol, are you confused whether to join career launch or some other place, or are you confused whether to prepare for the interviews or not? So that is the confusion
or
for
whether
us.
you are talking about, or whether you are saying whether to join career launcher for CAT 25 because I felt 24 अच्छा नहीं जाएगा but expectation से better चला गया. Non-engineer. Okay, I think he's talking about PDP. My takeaway from non-engineer is that he's talking about GDPA preparation.
So Anmol, don't worry. Couple of days you will get the that response sheet. Take a call then if you are confused at this point of time. 2 days will not make a significant difference. But if you are reasonably sure you are getting 27, 28 or 30 plus, then the earlier you start, the better off you would be.
Correct. 26, 27 will be a good score, Anmol. Nice. Excel नहीं आया तो IMT will come, XIMB will come. They will तो guaranteed come. So you will surely get good calls. So over to you. Every day that you leave out there, just hopefully later on you won't regret that it's slightly lesser time. So from that perspective, my recommendation would be kickstart. CAT 25 आ गया अब.
ठीक है. Anmol, more than रुक जाओ यार. Tension मत करो. Just wait for a couple of days. Let that response sheet come out. Take a call then.
Yeah. For CAT 25, wait for a couple of days. Yeah. General non-engineer female cutoff for QADI. For HRM, if you are going to score about 4.5, 5 marks, I think you have a good chance of clearing the cutoff. And for BM, if you score about half a mark more or 1 mark more, it should be enough. So 4.5 and 5.5.
Yeah.
Or
I'll say if you are 6 marks, you are very, very 6 marks. Gunjan is very safe.
Yeah.
Avas is getting
22. 22 last year was about 90 percentile. So it might mean if you just go back to a couple of slides, I mean, was it 90 or 85? I think it was 90. XAT 2024 का the cutoff was there here.
इसके पीछे वाली में.
Yeah, either
इसके पीछे वाली.
Yeah. So if you look at 22, it was a 90 percentile. And if it more or less remains the same, 90 percentile, matlab almost all other than XLRI, you can expect a call from. XIM Bhubaneswar would be slightly touch and go, but baki to aa sakte. So yeah, good chance. Priyanshu 27, very good chance of getting all calls. So I think we've gone ahead and discussed all of that. Acha, you're getting 22.5 in QA. अच्छा, ये तो आप 100 percentile के आसपास होगी QA में. If you're getting 22.5 in QA and hoping for 99.5 to 99.76 percentile in CAT. CAT percentiles तो came out some time back. I am again. This is all XAT English. XAT. I hope he meant XAT.
ये इसका मतलब नहीं समझ में आया कि I am writing XAT and I am going to get a percentile in CAT. How is it possible? ऐसा हुआ है कभी?
I think he meant XAT. कि I'm hoping for this much in XAT. I hope that is what he
X
meant.
and C, X and C are the next two keys on the keyboard. So
यही है, वो XAT ही बोल रहा होगा. So 99.5 plus, you have a very good chance of, very high chance of a conversion as well. Please start off your preparation ASAP. ठीक है?
हाँ,
Please start your
22.5 and
preparation.
Quant को कोई doubt ही नहीं है यार.
if you are
Gautam, look at it this way: if Abhas gets another, let's say, 7-8 marks, with 15 marks in the other two sections combined,
Yeah.
he'll clear the sectional cutoff and he'll be 37, 38. So 99 plus तो है पक्का.
Yeah. Considering he's saying 99.5 plus, I feel he feels he'll get 40 plus.
Yeah.
So it should be very good. Acha, I got it, Anmol. So either XLRI or repeat. So just wait for a couple of days here. I will agree with what GP stated. Wait for a couple of days. But that's about it from our end, guys. 27 overall should be in the range of 95-96 percentile. ठीक है? Acha, you are expecting 99.5 plus in XAT, got 99.76 in CAT. Abhas, I hope you started your preparation. GDPI, PDP Bastalize, I hope आप enrolled हो. नहीं हो तो do it ASAP and aim to convert every single call and then decide कहाँ जाना है. Okay, I think that's about it. Karthik at 32, that should be a 97-98 plus. All the very best. Kickstart your preparation. But that's about it from our end. We'll probably leave it with the QR code of PDP. Next slide. Yeah, we can probably leave it here. For those of you whom we've just pointed out that you are expected to get calls, you can just go ahead and scan this QR code and enroll. We've got both offline and online PDP. It's your call what you want to enroll in. Yeah, both online and offline. सब कुछ है, जो चाहिए ले लो. ठीक है? ठीक है? Okay. ठीक है, that's about it from our end, guys. Good night, good evening. जाओ खा लो, सो लो. Bye bye.
okay.
So,
Bye.
good night.
Good night. Good night,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.